Yeah, buddies, this is the Bennington Show on a Monday. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington, kicking this week off in a big, big way. There's a couple of stories to start the show with, but I think Vito's new obsession, Michaela Maroney and her butt, seems to be the thing that has the nation by the shorties.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Michaela's one of those people where, like, I feel like she was a kid yesterday, so it's a weird thing to be like, oh, we're into the sexualizing her zone.
Now, I know that you're saying that, but just the other day you were pro-prostitution, and I say, look, you're going to see, if you're pro-prostitution, it's going to be all 18-year-old girls. So it's going to be graduation into prostitution. Far more sexualizing than a girl who's wearing slightly less than when she was wearing her gymnastic stuff.
Oh, yeah. She's allowed to sexualize herself. I'm just saying, it's like, isn't that always a weird thing when you know someone, either a child star or, like, you know them as a child, and then you're like, oh,
but fuck. It's literally when we try to run other people's lives. You know what I mean? Like, we're telling them what they should do with themselves. Now, this, I'm going to say, she's dancing around in thong less than 2 seconds. And yet, Vito, this is like the number one talked about thing.
I believe in 30 minutes, it already had 100,000 views and tens of thousands of comments.
Now, the comments are going back and forth. Some would like, great ass, and I'd hit that. And others agreeing closer to Gail, where you're a bad person if you're viewing this, and you're disgusting for talking about her. And also she's taking a lot of slack for the "my children looked up to you and now you delete it" thing. But this is on the iBang today. Under what,
Michaela Maroney shows off her gymnast butt on Instagram.
Okay, so that was your beautiful headline you put together?
I couldn't think. When I saw this on my Instagram, I was just scrolling about. I saw this pop out, and it was like a Christmas present.
Well, I'll tell you this. I brought this up before. She was co-hosting or the sports part of this in the summer last year because it was the Olympics, right? And she was in like some little dress, and they asked her to turn around, and she looked like she could have died of embarrassment. She never sold the butt, right? She's not a butt Instagram girl up to this point. So this kind of came out of nowhere for the people who were hoping to see the butt one day.
Yeah, she posted up some random pictures where like you saw her in a dress and stuff. Like she showed off a lot of cleavage, but seeing this, when you get to see the butt, just the skin.
You've been waiting how long for the skin?
I've been waiting
the butt.
I mean, I've been waiting about 6-7 months since she started going nuts on Instagram.
No, I don't think that she's going nuts on Instagram. I think if you go back to her Instagram page, you won't see anything similar anywhere to this. And this is, of course, gymnast butt. So this is a muscular butt. But no, look at her there. Keep going. These are just like regular.
Yeah, they're just like
Instagram,
sexy selfie.
Yeah, but all face stuff. There's no, like, there she is, front shot. So the butt, which, all the gymnasts, because of the kind of work that they do, have a round, hard butt. But this is, this is Raiders of the Lost Ark time. This is people's eyes were fucking burning out, faces melting.
Since she put this picture up, that's what I meant. She put this picture up a few months ago.
And you just said she went crazy on Instagram, and I had to say she didn't. That's her in a pair of shorts.
I know, but since then I've been waiting to see what it looked like.
But you've got to do a better job reporting, because that is not a person going nuts. You now sound like a rapist for saying that.
I think this one got me a little excited.
Again, that's a person at the beach. You've got to not act like she's asking for it.
No.
I just say the defining thing. This is shocking in the sense that we've seen nothing like it from her. Now,
the butt is incredibly impressive.
Well, it's unbelievable.
It's it's so sculpted, but then there's still softness to it. Like, it's muscular,
right,
but it's not like a man muscular butt.
No, you're right. But you have to remember a gymnast butt is made so that she can leap 12 feet into the air.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, those things that you're looking at are to spring her.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is after a few months of like neglect. Like she's not working out as much.
How do you know?
Because she retired from, I think.
That doesn't make it neglect. I'm gonna go after you on words this entire time, Vito. Because I don't like your attitude today.
She's really been neglecting her body.
I think she's like, you know what? I retired from gymnastics. I don't need to work out every day. So there's a little more like stuffing.
You have no idea. You have no idea what you're talking about. But this is also what happens with these kids. This is a sport where you top out in your late teens.
Yeah.
Like 22, 23, basically senior and college year age. I'm sorry, it's over for you. They're always bringing in 12, 13, 14-year-old girls who are spectacular every fucking 4 years. To really make it as an Olympian, it also takes the luck that you peak, right, when there's an Olympic year. Because those 4 years on either side are a completely different game.
Right. I think they even said that happened to Johnny Weir. Like, he was like, his best point was like where he was like 2 years from an Olympic.
Look, Johnny Weir is wonderful at dressing up. I'm not saying that he is. I never saw it in the skating. He got fucked. Every time I saw him in skating, those stronger guys were destroying him. He should have been able to skate with women because that was closer to his style than the aggressive man skate. But as far as wearing a belly shirt and a fur jacket with it, yeah, he was the best at that. So, young Michaela, now here's the other thing. Not only is she out of that, but what is she supposed to do with this fame? You know what I mean? She has 1 million followers, but for what? Where does she get paid?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a kid like this, and obviously she's not doing this with a PR thing. This is done at her home. You know what I mean? Like, she could have presented this better from a marketing standpoint.
Yes.
But there's an explosion on the internet over the Michaela butt.
It was really nice to just see, like, to just pop. Like, nobody sent it to me. I just saw it on Instagram.
You're his friend.
Yes.
Why does he have to be so creepy?
I'm not sure.
We could be having a discussion right now instead of me wanting to send him out of the room.
But the best is he's just like, I mean, nobody even sent it to me. It was just like a little surprise in my mail.
Yes. There's nothing less creepy than him today. Now, Chris Stanley, and this is also already hashtag chain smoker. Now that he's smoking in front of us, he had the smoker's cough and lighting one cigarette off the other outside. So he went from not smoking at all to not unsmoking at any point in his life. He had already annoyed me today because he claims fake butt.
Yeah, why would you think that this is a fake butt?
I'm hearing things in comment sections all over saying that this is a fake ass, that she got butt
Why
implants.
would you see a troll comment? You know that it isn't fake because she's a gymnast.
People are saying it's fake, and I'm thinking it's fake as well.
There's not an expert who'd say that that's fake. First of all, she's how old? 22?
Something like that, yeah.
23, I think, maybe.
21.
21.
Is it 21?
21.
There's no reason to get a fake butt at 21.
No.
You have nothing to lift yet. You're fine. And Vito's right. She's probably got 2 or 3 years left of just milkshakes and cheeseburgers. Now,
Just letting it loose.
She'll make money when she starts advertising stuff on her Instagram, like Fit Tea.
yeah, but this is how to get them there.
Yeah, now they're interested.
You got to give a little more than this is us at the park. All right, send in Jen. I want to dish about this a little bit. And then we're going to get to all the TV cancellations and renewals and just newels. All right, Jen normally keeps up with the youngsters, but I'm going to guess gymnasts are off of her radar. Jen, are you familiar with Michaela?
I am, yeah. I've seen her.
Now,
Instagram.
were you surprised by this
Not
Watch that?
really.
Yeah.
No, because I feel like a lot of like younger, early 20, like Bella Thorne's also acting crazy. It's just like girls of this time.
I don't know who Bella Thorne is. What's
She's
her deal?
an actress.
Okay, what's she doing that's so crazy?
She's just like, my sister showed me her Snapchat this weekend, and she was like dancing to like EDM music. She showed her nipples. They're just acting nuts.
What has she done?
Nothing.
She was a Disney.
She was in a
girl.
Disney show. She was in an Adam Sandler movie.
Okay. As what? The daughter?
Yeah, she played Drew Barrymore's daughter in Blended. No, she played Adam Sandler's daughter in Blended.
Okay. So there, we'll get that straight.
Gotcha.
So she showed her nipples on what?
On Snapchat.
Yeah.
That's great because then the nipples just disappear in 24 hours. You don't have to worry
Yeah,
about
nobody pays attention to them again. So you're not surprised by this,
No.
and you being younger, you don't have a problem with this.
I kind of do, because it's just like, it's kind of disrespecting your own body. And, like, guys don't really respect you, I feel like, if you're doing this.
Are you your own parent? Because you're not, you already don't, like normally people your age make the fucking case, but Joe asked, why not get it out there?
See, I'm the I used to think like that, and then,
Your little sister came of age.
yes.
And then you're like,
and I'm like, no,
shaking that ass or nothing.
Now, by the way, you could wear this to the beach and not be arrested. There's nothing about this.
That's true.
Yeah. The whole idea of beachwear versus underwear is all context.
It's
and
crazy.
if you saw this girl walking down the beach, you'd be like, oh, she looks nice in her bathing suit.
Right.
And then if you see her in her home, you're like, dear God, this woman's practically nude.
Yeah, it is true. There is a strange thing of that. And even like a nightie is more than people would normally wear. And you're like, she's in her nightie. That's for nighttime wear.
I wish I could remember what you know who it was? I think it was an Ivanka Trump picture that she had put out. Maybe it was like around Christmas, and it was like my family on Christmas morning or something. And she was wearing like a nightie as opposed to like flannel jammies.
Yeah.
And a lot of the right-wing types were going, this is really crossing a line. And I'm looking at him like, she's really covered. It's just a slinky material.
But I'm saying even from this, I say you and Jem both are closer to being Quakers than I would have.
Why? I think it's totally fine that she does it.
But you're saying anybody who's looking is a creep.
No, I said for me, I said it's a very weird thing to just like, oh God, this person to me who was just a kid not too long ago who was like, she's the one who like made the like little sneer or whatever.
Yeah, not impressed.
Not impressed face. Like that just feels like that just happened. But I'm not
that
judging
was 5
anyone.
years ago,
But I'm not judging anyone who finds a 21-year-old woman with like a nice ass.
You haven't judged Vito for his fucking
Well,
weirdness.
that's just because of his general creepiness.
Yes.
That's just like his general way of speaking where he's like, here's a little present
I
for
got
me.
news for you. Trump is battling the wind right now with his hair. It's all over. He's honoring fallen police officers, but no one can get outside of the cotton candy hair.
Oh my God.
It is a crazy windy day today. They literally said in New York City, be careful of stuff falling off of giant buildings and killing you.
There's nothing that you can do in that circumstance. There's no way to be careful.
Vito, go to the Bennington Twitter because supposedly there's a fun pic comparing Chris to Ashley Graham on Twitter right now.
I'll take that as a compliment. I mean, she's a beautiful woman.
It's the same pose. Now, here's the thing. Here's the difference. One of these people is out in the sun in the beach. The other person had been in a freezing cold meat locker. That's the one who's sweating uncontrollably.
Oh, she has Photoshop taking the sweat off her body.
There's no such thing as that. And two, you're getting too comfortable with the sideshow freak thing, Chris. It's got to stop.
I don't want to be a sideshow freak. I'm not comfortable
Look at
with
the expression on your
in the
face.
position.
I wanted to look sexy, and apparently that's the pose to use, because Ashley Graham, beautiful, sexy model, does it as well.
Look at your mouth. It looks like you're screaming in some kind of Van Gogh pain.
I thought like when you keep your mouth slightly ajar, that's kind of sexy.
No. It's a slobbering mouth breather with you.
Every lady likes a slack jaw.
All right, so Jen, you're coming out. No, don't do it.
No.
Gail said, okay that she does it, but you're uncomfortable. Nito's come 3 times. And Chris Stanley makes about himself again. So the votes are in. And they're all over the place.
And accusing her based on hearsay of having a fake butt.
Now,
I mean, that's just, he's like, I read people said it, and now I believe it.
The comment section.
Now, I saw a thing today that kids between 18 to 24, 43%, which to me is an enormous amount, did not feel that they could be put down as straight or gay, that there's some kind of a thing. And I think that's a tremendous jump from the people who are 4 or 5 years older than them. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, and this, by the way, was a Harry Styles thing, because Harry had come out saying that he loved that Miley Cyrus said that she was pansexual instead of bisexual, because bisexual puts you in some kind of a box.
Yeah.
Which the whole fucking point of that term was to break out of the box. And now it's like,
I don't want just both options. I want more than both.
Now, where did this come from? How did we make this leap every couple of years of sexuality?
Yeah, it's a strange thing, and yes, it's an even younger generation, like teens. Like, I think that people around my age are got increasingly more comfortable with the definitions of gay and bisexual.
The girls did,
but
not so much the guys.
But the idea of just saying, "Oh, I actually don't even think about it. I just literally base people as I meet them." My
question would be, maybe Jen, you would be able to answer this, is where did this start? Because it must have started much younger. It didn't start with them being 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of my best friends that I was growing up with, actually now they're they're my age, and they came out as like full on lesbian. But when I was younger, they were less kind of looked at as tomboys, but I was always really good friends with them. So I feel and I feel like it started kind of then, they knew.
As a young person, you were a lipstick tomboy.
Yeah. I was a girly girl.
Vito, you put yourself as kind of pansexual, right?
I mean, I put myself as straight, but I do appreciate a nice male body.
That's pan.
Yeah, you're pan. There's no doubt about it.
I don't think I'm going to make a move on it ever, but I will look at a guy, I look at a dude like Joe Manganiello and be like, that's a handsome dude.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Sofia Vergara's husband. He was on True Blood.
Okay,
he was in Magic Mike.
He just jumped over the attractive woman and he's looking at her.
By the way, he's too old for you, Vito. That's my biggest concern. But you still seem like you have an Italian fear about it, but it's there for you. But it had to start much younger that they thought why should I choose?
Right. And maybe it starts with just being accepting, when you're taught at a young age, hey, people's families look different. If you start that really young.
Is that schools that do that?
That's schools who do that. And, in my school, probably there were more conversations and openness about race and being accepting of people. But when I was a little kid, nobody said, hey, some kids have 2 dads and some kids have 2 moms and some kids have a mom and dad.
Never learned that in school.
That was never came up for me, but I think it did maybe a little bit younger.
My school, I don't know why they did this. They had a rule: nobody gets a trophy. So even if you were the MVP, no trophy for you, because they thought it was weakness. They thought trophies sucked the strength from the body. I've got to feel like, because I don't expect that the parents are changing. I think it has to be some kind of and that's when people are going, when is this stuff going to roll back? And I'm like, I don't think it is. I don't think that kind of progressiveness rolls back, because it gets accepted pretty quickly by even the people that were opposing it a couple years before.
Well, let's just take a look at it. Do you think that there's any harm in moving in that direction? For example, is there anything wrong with a generation starting to go, we don't really define things by straight or gay? we just don't think about defining sexuality.
I think the only point would be leaving me behind. I think that's the point that annoys me. But you have to remember, even when Fez struggled to just come out as gay, and then I know that he was late doing it, but that was just a few years ago, where even that felt like a giant thing to him. Right. And I think that happened to people of my generation. That was still the big leap to having people going, I don't define myself one way. Seems like almost a weird thing to the people who fought for it. You know what I mean?
Right. But think about this. The idea of pansexual versus, say, bisexual, I think that there was always a stigma that it was never easy to come out as bisexual because that was always associated with sluttiness, male or female. It just meant
I would say this. Nothing has been easier than women coming out as bisexual. And I was on the front lines of that. It was particularly late at night. Partying.
Well, yeah, but actually saying to to say to another woman, hey, I'm bisexual, to say to a man that maybe you weren't trying to, impress, people automatically go, oh, so you sleeping with multiple people all the time.
I mean, even the fact that you still use words like slutty goes to show that you're stuck in whatever your own timeline is, too. Because there should be, it's almost ridiculous. Nothing that we've talked about yet seems as old as the concept of she's a slut.
Right.
And even, Jen was doing where the boys won't respect you. That's dated. That's extremely dated. All right. John Fugelsang is going to stop by. He's got a show on Channel 121, Tell Me Everything. But he's going to be at Caroline's this week. All right, John Fugelsang, of course, you know him from Tell Me Everything on Insight, Channel 121, weekdays, 2 to 5. But this Caroline show that you put together, WTF, Donnie, a bunch of heavy hitters, and you got Rosie O'Donnell as part of this, which is crazy.
So cool.
Yeah, we're building this humor site for the president, and I've invited him to this show. By the way, I did a whole video inviting him. I know he listens to your show, Ron, without interruption. So, Mr. President, we have a great show at Caroline's. It's called WTF Donnie. That's a reference to The Big Lebowski. You probably haven't seen that film. It's very funny, believe me. And so we're putting together this show at Caroline's for our first one, and I just, I had a great lineup already. Judy Gold, who's iconic, and Judah Friedlander from 30 Rock, Trayvon Free won an Emmy writing for The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Frank Conniff of Mystery Science Theater is my sidekick on my deeply terrible show, 2 to 5 p.m. on Channel 121. And then I just figured, let me just ask Rosie. I'll see if she wants to. She doesn't do a lot of this kind of stuff.
No, very little. And the press has been looking for her nonstop for the last couple of years.
Yeah. And I still don't know if she's going to do a set or if I'm going to interview her and do a Q&A. We don't know yet. It's really, really fun. But I've been trying to get her on stage for a long time because she did a HBO special about her heart attack a couple of years ago, and just fantastic. She's a better stand-up than ever. So she's coming down, and it's Wednesday night, and I've invited the president. I'll say it here on your show. If you come, Mr. Trump, I promise that I will let you close the show.
That'd be great.
I'll give you 10 minutes. I'll light you at 8. I will not let the waitstaff give out checks during your set. You can do crowd work. You can go ahead and mock all the comedians without refuting any of their points. Whatever you want. It's your stage time, Don.
I would say this, and I would recommend that he doesn't follow Judah. I think that's too tough. I think it's too tough.
Judah's one of the funniest guys on the planet.
Unbelievably unique, funny man. But the show is a cool one, but do you expect because I forget what I was just, it was Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
Where people are doing walkouts during Todd Rundgren shows because he's doing some anti-Trump stuff.
He has a new song he did with Donald Fagen, a Steely Dan. It's on Todd's new album. And he's pretty much announced he's doing it at shows.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that many people who are diehard Trump fans being diehard, like Springsteen or
I was at a Christopherson show during so this would have been like 2003, 2004, and he said some anti-war stuff and people started yelling out. And this is John Prine is headlining, Chris Christopherson. But you're always going to run into certain people. I mean, I'm always amazed by Springsteen fans who don't pay any attention to the lyrics.
How about that Governor Christie? He's been to 100 shows but can't hear any of the words.
Well, we've talked about this before. Like, I think if you're on the right, it gets kind of limited in the rock realm.
Yeah, you're in trouble rock-wise.
Well, there's a lot of there's right-leaning rock, no doubt, and there's a lot of conservative rock stars, just like there's conservative comedians who aren't necessarily conservative on stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I mean, protest against authority has always been a hallmark of rock and roll, and it's to be expected now above all times. I mean, and again, this is a show also for all conservatives who are kind of scratching their head over this because Donald Trump might be the head of the Republican Party. He's not a conservative,
right?
And you know it, living in New York, there's tons of conservative brothers and sisters who are not down with what they're seeing going on.
But at the same time, there's no break in the ranks, right? Congress-wise?
Not yet. I mean, and they can't. In a way, you know, congressional Republicans who oppose Trump are sort of trapped because they're all terrified if they do anything to oppose the agenda, they're going to get primaried back at home. And he knows that. So, you know, he can shrewdly make them all fall in line. But you'll see dissent. Rand Paul's hopping mad about more mass incarceration and ramping up the drug war even more, which is something that a lot of conservatives have come to realize has been a $75 billion a year racket on us.
And I mean, I was in this conversation so many years ago, and it's gone on since. You know what I mean? Like, it was early on in the war on drugs that we knew that it wasn't working. You know what I mean? Like, early on, like, hey, are we winning? There's never a time that people haven't taken drugs.
Yeah.
Ever.
Bronze Age man sucked the sap from poppy seeds thousands of years before Rush Limbaugh got busted in an airport with Oxy. It's nothing new. We've always done it. The question is, are we going to treat people like they're sick or like they're criminals? Right. If someone has a problem, are we going to put him in jail or are we going to get him treatment? And if someone's, you know, I'm with the libertarians on this. If someone is not harming your person or your property, what business is it of yours what they do with their own bodies?
Right. And also, one of the reasons why a lot of those people are committing crimes is because it's difficult to get to the drugs. You know what I mean? If the drugs were there. Now, does that mean that more people would do drugs if you legalize it? Yeah, like with gambling. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I remember,
but like Ron Paul said it, you know, is there anybody in this room who's going to start using heroin if heroin gets decriminalized tomorrow? It's not that many. And they're already using it in the form of pills.
Yeah, that's the thing that happens is that you think you wouldn't be a drug person until you hurt your back and you take an Oxy and then suddenly you find out you have an addictive personality. Yeah. And that's what's happened to a lot of people. They didn't know.
And that seems to have no concern for anyone that is far more rampant than this weird step back and going back to this idea of the war on drugs, which it seems like something we could have or should have grown out of by now.
Oxy is why heroin is back because people are going, look, these oxys are too expensive. Right. And their friend going, I can get you the same high, cheaper.
And stronger.
And stronger.
Purer.
Although sometimes the oxy is the purest thing that you can find on the street. It's but this thing is...
But again, it's always been around. Like, man, we've had a love affair with opiates for thousands of years. You know, the Chinese and the ancient Egyptians soaked sponges in opium as an anesthetic during surgery. The Chinese use it as a pleasure drug. The Muslims got around it by saying, in the Muslim empire, they used it by saying it was, you could, even though they had a prohibition against drugs, it was for surgery. So we've always found ways to use this. In the 1800s, women were prescribed laudanum. Heroin was originally marketed by Bayer as a non-addictive child's cough syrup, and it was 5% of their profits at the turn of the 20th century. We've always been doing this. Yeah. We're always going to do it. The people in power keep shuffling the crap around to make it look like they're doing something new. But you're right. Now that opiates have become a big business and big pharma is able to push this stuff on people, whether they need it or not, so many folks are hooked. They're finding the cheaper, stronger ways of doing it. Getting rid of the Taliban helped quite a bit in getting the heroin spreading around Europe again, too. So now, what are we going to do with this problem? I know Jared Kushner is going to solve it for all of us. Yes. The president promised this with his other 19 jobs. But it comes right down to this whole question of the drug war existing so we have a free labor force in prisons, right? Like any society that keeps on building more for-profit prisons, is a society that needs more crime. So you're not going to see a change to this because there's too much money to be made by locking up low-income white, black, and brown people so they can work for a company for 16 cents a day. It's a racket. And sadly, a lot of people aren't going to care until it impacts someone close to them.
Now, Sessions is also anti-marijuana, which is...
Oh, yes.
That's a big step.
Yeah,
that's worse than a Klan for Sessions.
Yeah. And that's one that most people thought was just about across the finish line. But
well, we'll see how much they mean it about states' rights. Am I right?
Yeah.
You know, Sessions obviously is part of this whole culture of building more prisons, and I think the one great thing the Obama administration did in their last year was cancel the government's contract with private prisons. Because we shouldn't be in that business of making a buck off it. Now that's scrubbed away, and you're going to see more drug war than ever, unfortunately. And I think it's going to be conservatives who will be the hero on this when it comes to a states' rights issue and a privacy issue. I think the conservatives have a lot more legislative power than progressives on this. And this is an area where people on the left and right can combine and say, look, we'd rather have treatment than have to pay all this money to throw addicts in jail where they'll get even harsher drugs, and we're picking up their three square in healthcare.
Yeah, but it's also a great way for those people to end up on TV because the weekend TV shows that are just, I can't believe people watch this.
Prison porn?
Yes, it's fucking, it makes me claustrophobic even to turn it on. I get freaked out. But it's
in my day, we had Oz, and it was a soap opera about men being raped in prison, and men loved it.
Yeah. But now this is just straight reality TV, and it's just prison stuff every goddamn weekend.
Yeah, and it's poverty porn is what it is. You know, it's like taking people at the bottom of the economic ladder, throwing them some drugs to help ease the pain of life, and then put them in jail for being bad people, and we'll put it on camera and entertain the rest of us. It's, you know, the reality TV narcissism disease that's led directly to the White House.
WTF Donnie is Wednesday at Caroline's. It's May 17th. It's a Trump roast featuring Rosie O'Donnell, Judy Gold, Judah Freelander. I just saw Judy Gold in a, I think the name of it is I'm Dying Up Here. I think his Showtime is putting it out. And Judy Gold plays like a Catskills comic who goes to what is basically the Comedy Store in 74, and she's unbelievable in it. She's she's a terrific actor. Really a strong actor.
You see her on Louie. She's fantastic on Louie and the Woody Allen Amazon series too.
It's always funny of what comics can really nail it as actors, you know, and just make you forget that you've ever watched their stand-up before.
I think the best comics are people who are in touch with their darkness, and they can easily transfer to drama. I think, you know, Eddie Murphy's best performance for me is still in Dreamgirls. I mean, that one scene where he decides, okay, I'm just going to do the coke again, and it shatters the whole film. I mean, I love when comedians go dark, and when Bill Murray will do it, or even Steve Martin.
Yeah. They, and it is right. I mean, Robin Williams had it too. Robin Williams could turn it on a dime where you're like, oh, this is the scariest guy I've ever seen in my life.
Do you think a lot of stand-ups have that in mind as something that they want to do? Or is that something that, like, through working in entertainment, you just stumble across acting and then you're
half of them want to be great actors and the other half want to be rock stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of them are, I mean, there a lot of comics are raw nerves, just raw nerve. So that makes you a good actor. You're like, there's a lot of comics who you could see them have a bad set and sit down at a table and you're like, that's fucking worth watching him right now for the next 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Because it's so eternalized. There's this eternal fury. And because it's one of the few art forms that you can be embarrassed at on any given night.
And it's one of the few art forms that's, you know, purely one person doing it. It's sort of like a libertarian wet dream because you're the writer, you're the director, you're the publicist, you're the editor, and you're the performer. And, you know, for me, I've been on the road doing political tours, and it's been amazing to go out and do like, you know, 40 minutes in front of 1,000 people and really, really just cover politics and religion and everything that's going on right now in the culture. And for me, my weird experience of raising a toddler at the same time my country was electing one. And, you know, it's great to be able to go into a room, a theater, and do the kind of material you can't do at the nice comedy clubs.
Right.
Where you can go political, where you don't have to worry about pleasing everybody in the house. You know, if you are a Republican, you'll laugh at this show. If you are a Trump supporter, and drunk enough, you'll laugh at this show. But this is going to be the kind of thing where it's for people who are, you know, who get it, who know this isn't normal. And honestly, there's so many people who are kind of shell-shocked. And again, my love to any Trump supporters listening. My grievance isn't with them, it's with this guy. You know, the presidency has been given over to a con man who had to pay $25 million for ripping off Americans with a fake university. Like we've given the launch codes to a reality show landlord, who has the attention span of the guy from Memento. And so this is going to be really a cathartic experience, because I found around the country, people just want to go and laugh. There's so much ugliness, and the news just wants us fighting each other even more. And I make fun of Democrats plenty. So this is going to definitely be a real party.
Well, you know, for you always being a political comic, I don't know if there could be any. Everybody's watching politics now. I mean, politics have moved in front of anything else that you could talk about, maybe for the first time ever, maybe since the 60s.
Well, you know, there was so many people who, you know, initially they were like, I'm so tired of hearing celebrities talk politics. I'm so tired of every time I turn on the news.
They elected a celebrity.
Yeah. It's very true. But there is something where, like, yes, you need time to step away from it and turn off the news, but it would be very strange to ignore the thing that is this present. You know, I mean, because it's part of the conversation, isn't that already an indication that it's supposed to be part of the conversation?
You're right. And we've been obsessed with politics several times since the 60s. I mean, you know, Nixon, obviously, the Clinton impeachment was the only story on the news for a year and a half straight. The Iraq War, and when the body bags began coming home and there were no WMDs. I mean, we've all been glued to our TVs multiple times before. The Gore-Bush electoral standoff in 2000. So, I mean, just right now, it's just a really sustained, because it's not like it's a train wreck. It's like train wreck whack-a-mole. And, you know, I have to root for the guy. I have to say I want the middle class to do great. I want to see healthcare be affordable to all people. He doesn't have any policies in place that will bring this about. But I'm also on the side that realizes that, you know, Mike Pence might be just as evil, but has half the entertainment value.
Oh, yeah.
So,
he's gonna,
right.
I don't understand. These liberals are like, impeach Trump. I'm like, oh, you want the real douchebag then.
Yeah, he'll definitely suck the fun out of it.
That's why no one ever assassinated Obama, because it's like, you want to know what you get when he's gone. The real liberal who's a middle-aged white guy with plugs.
Yeah.
Obama was the safest black man in America for 8 years. He was like a Jay Leno band leader. Nobody was going to try to get rid of him.
But it doesn't look like there is anybody on the right or the left who's got the charisma that it takes now to get elected. Do you think? Is there somebody out there?
Well, it's tough to say, because, you know, now and 2020 is a universe of change, a universe of time, and he very well might not still be in office then. And Pence, for all of his, you know, fake Christianity, that revoltingly awful LGBT ban he did in Indiana is just horrific. And the Democrats, being the clowns they are, didn't bring that up in the VP debate. Good going, guys. I don't know. It's fun to talk about who might take on Trump in 2020, but I'm not sure they'll be taking on Trump. It could be Pence, and honestly, 2018 means a lot more, especially if you believe in things like climate science and the middle class and, you know, where the money's going to go. Because I know the rich have had it tough for a very long time.
Yes, very difficult.
But under Obama, the rich got richer than ever. This trickle-down thing does not change whether it's a Democrat or a Republican in the White House. And Donald Trump is just pretty much looking to be Bush's third term with 25 Cheneys.
Now, by the way, they say, if you're going to believe the polls, that Trump's base hasn't left him at all. I was talking with Nick DiPaolo, and he loves this kind of chaos. He finds it to be fun.
I do too.
He wanted somebody to go in there and fuck with the system. I don't know if Trump knows exactly why he fucks with one thing and not another, why he does what he does, but he does keep this thing rolling. I mean,
but he's not fucking with the system. That's my problem.
No.
Like, that was my favorite part of the debates, was how much this guy was going to go there and turn it all upside down. But you look at the actual policies, and it's like Jeb Bush 1. Mm-hmm. A meaner version of Jeb Bush 1. A meaner version of Jeb Bush that hires all of his kids.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, you had a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, and not attacking in any way, shape, or form. Just, I mean, is it realistic to say that it doesn't matter who's in there. There's just going to be massive chaos. And
no, we've never seen anything like this.
Not like this.
Yeah.
Taking care of, personal agendas and, whatnot. I mean,
I don't think that we've seen massive chaos in the past. There could be pros and cons and things go.
It took 5 years for Nixon to fire the guy investigating him.
Right.
Yeah.
Trump 112 days.
Scott, you're a Trump supporter?
Well, you know what? I was an anti-Hillary person, to be perfectly honest with you. So does that answer your question?
No, but you voted for Trump. Are you happy with him? Is all I'm asking.
I think he's a train wreck, but I can take a train wreck versus what we probably would have gotten.
What would you have gotten with her?
With her, probably just absolute corruption.
Why? Why do you say that? Why worse corruption than we're seeing here? Really? Like where the Secret Service, we have to pay for the Secret Service to stay in their hotel? Like we pay him every time he goes to Mar-a-Lago. I mean, this is corruption on a scale that we've never seen before.
I know, but that's the president. Guess what? That's one of the perks. You get to do that.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. But my whole thing is like, I talked to this really nice lady in Arizona last week who said, well, I voted for Obama twice, but I didn't like Hillary and I went for Trump. And I'm like, well, I get that. But what does that mean on a policy level? You supported women's abortion rights and now you want them to go to jail. You believed in climate science, but now you think it's a Chinese hoax. You supported health care for all Americans, but now you want it to get worse?
I'm sorry. A friend of mine went to a dinner that, she spoke at and videoed the thing on his phone. And it was really sickening to me. The level of deceptiveness, not to the people in the room, obviously.
But what specifically? How is she deceptive, and what policies of hers were you so scared of that you think Trump will do a better job with? I vote on policy and empathy.
Not scared of the apathetic approach to the whole, when she basically got herself in trouble on saying who gives a shit about, sorry for my language, who gives a shit about the people that die on a daily basis.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? When did she ever say that? You're making stuff up. Benghazi? What are you talking about? She never said that. Benghazi was a case of 4 Americans killed by terrorists, and the American right tried to blame Americans for it to manipulate people and exploit those murders for political gain. First to get Susan Rice, then to get Barack Obama, then Hillary Clinton.
No, it wasn't the American right. It was people, human beings.
It was the American right media.
With her apathy.
How do you like the Republican Party for clearing Hillary in multiple investigations? The Republican Congress kept clearing her and then turning around. Right on, I hear you, man. But the Republican Congress kept clearing her and then turning around and going on Fox News saying she's guilty, and then clearing her, then going on Fox News and saying blame her for what terrorists did.
Do you know how much stuff I've gotten away with in my life that I'm not guilty of, but I did?
What did she do? Did she plan the attack with Barack Obama?
No, it's the apathetic approach she takes to human lives, dude. That's my problem.
So you like Donald Trump lying about it better? Donald Trump lied and said she was in bed during Benghazi, and he was literally in bed during the Yemen raid.
Trump is a complete douchebag, and the first guy to admit he's a narcissist. He's the epitome of narcissism. However, I think he would be pretty cool about, if someone's lost a son or a father or, whatever in a war, except for that one guy they paraded on stage during the... All right,
Scott, I gotta move on to some other people. Here's Eric in New Mexico. He disagrees with legalizing it. Hey, Eric, what's up?
Hey, Bennington. Hey, John.
Hey.
So, Colorado. I live in Colorado. We were the first to legalize pot, and I'm sorry for all the pot users, but the media doesn't report everything about what has happened. Marijuana DUI arrests is now the number one in the state. 47% of all DUI arrests. It was only 5% or less prior to. Alcohol DUIs make up 40%, and the other 13% is miscellaneous. One of my uncles, or should I say one of my wife's uncles, he was the top DMV driver's license guy in the state. He was the lawyer who you saw to determine whether your license would be suspended or revoked. He's now a defense lawyer after he retired. Of his clients who are DUI offenders for marijuana, it's an 85% repeat rate.
Do you support banning alcohol?
Sure.
You want to ban alcohol?
I have no problem with it.
Okay. Well, at least you're consistent, man.
You know, here's the thing. The media needs to report the whole story.
I agree.
They talked about how, crime was going to go down. Yes and no. In some areas, not all. And when you talk to a lot of the cops out there, the rank and file on the street, they'll tell you that the people they're encountering, some of the most vicious and the violence that they're getting are drug related.
I don't buy that's on pot.
It's across the board.
Now, why would they need to be involved in violent crimes about marijuana if suddenly it's legal and there's not going to be a reason to carry a gun when you're dropping off a couple keys?
The only time a pothead gets violent is when Taco Bell's closed.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of it with the pot people is it's petty crime. When they've been busting people for vehicle theft or vehicle break-ins and a lot of these home burglaries, a lot of them are admitting that it's to buy pot.
All right, let me just ask you this: what is daily life in Colorado? How much has it changed since this legal weed thing?
If you go downtown Denver along the 16th Street Mall and a lot of those areas, it's out in the open. The cops really can't do a whole lot. You've got a lot of our street people or our homeless population has increased exponentially. A lot of them are under 25 who came here looking for jobs, but they couldn't pass the background checks to work in the pot industry, and they don't have the money to go anyplace else.
I think
now they're homeless on the street.
Yeah, I mean, young homeless, and I was just in Austin, and it's amazing how many young homeless people there are in towns anymore. You didn't used to see that.
But I will say...
But I don't think it has anything to do with marijuana.
I mean, it's not that marijuana created a situation or a circumstance in which these people are homeless. What you're saying is
compounded it.
I don't even know if that's...
Yeah, I mean, how would that be the case?
There was a report about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, from the Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, where they took a look at the under 25, and they started interviewing people saying, okay, what's the situation? And this is what they were finding, is a lot of them were in bad situations where they were at. They came here because pot was legal, and they said it was a booming industry. They came here looking for jobs, but they can't pass the background check, and many of them who came here didn't have the money to leave.
But are you blaming people who smoke the flower for that, or the market for that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I will say that what I see on a regular basis from the drug users, I'm a truck driver. I have a friend who's the director of safety for a trucking company in Denver. They can't get a full class because guys can't pass the UA in order to go to school.
All right, thanks, Derek. I appreciate your call. Here's Jim, Missouri. Jim, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, I want to know when did Pence ban LGBTQ in Indiana? When did that happen?
What he did, and I apologize for getting the language wrong, he actually signed a law making discrimination legal in the state. The Religious Freedom Law. Yes, he did.
It was against discrimination.
No, it wasn't.
Anyone.
But it allows people to claim religious exemption to deny goods and services to LGBT people, which I wouldn't mind except for the fact that Jesus never condemns LGBT people. So I think that homophobia is inconsistent with Christianity.
But it's not about homophobia. It's about your phobia about that shit.
What are you talking about? Turning down...
It's a phobia that's not happening.
If people pay taxes, if gay people pay taxes to build the roads to your business, you don't get to say, you don't get to be served at my business because my Christian beliefs tell me I shouldn't serve you.
Have you ever been in a bar and read the sign behind the bar? We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone.
Yeah, but when it's a class of people, when it's...
the bar, and it's not just because of that reason.
Right, but in a bar, they're not doing it for religious reasons. And the Religious Freedom Law is bullshit because you cannot use the Bible to say that being gay is wrong. You just can't do it. Jesus didn't stand for homophobia, and so if you're going to hide behind Jesus for your hang-ups, I'm going to call you out on it. I'm sorry, but there's nothing Christian about denying goods and services to tax-paying American citizens because you don't like their sexuality.
It isn't about if you know somebody is that type of religious nut and you want a service done, why would you go to them? Why would you not go to somebody else?
You would go to somebody else. You would go to somebody else. But the same thing is,
then it's a moot point.
But no, this argument was used in segregation because Noah's son Ham was black-skinned, and so the children of Ham are cursed, and that's why I'm being a good Christian and not letting these African Americans sit at my lunch counter. It's my religious beliefs. It's bullshit, but it's the same thing shuffled around a generation later. Another excuse to be mean to somebody by using the least mean person in history or literature, whatever you believe.
But you are 100% correct there. There was the exact same rights. And people would say, hey, it's my restaurant. Why can't I say who I want here? Why would you want to go to a place that didn't want you? It's the exact same arguments.
Yeah.
But that's,
Jesus was many things.
Yeah.
Not a dick.
Not, yeah. You never,
least dickish character in the Bible. It's a lot like Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, the God Jesus thing. The Father's a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
The Son controls his mood swings much better.
Yeah.
Not a dick.
Yeah, you never heard in the Last Supper, like, what is he doing here? You know, Jesus did not play that gimmick at all.
And why are they all sitting on the same side of the table at the Last Supper? They're watching the game, I guess. All
right, here's Rich in Denver. Rich, what's up, buddy?
Hey, first of all, I lied. It's Scott from Tennessee. Hey, that guy, he said one of his many wives' uncle, first of all, is he a polygamist? And the DUI rates that he quoted are like way, way, way off. I have a buddy that lives there who's an attorney, and it's in like the single digits.
But even then, I mean, I don't know when they started to test for that, because when I was younger, you didn't get...
And it stays in your system for 30 days, so how do you do an accurate test? If you had a joint 2 weeks ago and now you're driving and you get pulled over, you're going to have your vehicle impounded? I think the good people of Colorado are going to look at the tax windfall from this new industry, and they're not going to want to change it. I respect the caller's grievance, but I think he speaks for a minority.
And I also understand what it's like with even alcohol. Like I'm in the village sometimes on a Saturday night, like, oh, fuck.
I swear to God, I want him to raise the drinking age to 30 sometimes.
I know. It gets obnoxious sometimes, so I totally get that. Here's Mona. Mona in Washington.
Hello, Ron.
Hey.
Gail.
Hey, what's up?
I just wanted to say this. You know, for the last 8 years, I did not vote for Obama. Mm-hmm. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Republican. I just wanted to say that for the last 8 years, I supported Obama in every way, shape, and form. Even though I didn't vote for him, I didn't like him, and this, but I would have stuck behind him. I did what I was supposed to. I got up every day, went to work, but it just really annoys me that you guys can't do the same. You have to wait your turn for the next 4 years. You should be behind the President of the United States, whether you like him or don't.
But what's the difference in your support versus our support? So it's like
you're not supporting it. I mean, he's going out and doing a
we're doing exactly what you're saying.
No, but the majority of Americans voted against his agenda, and the fact is, you know what? If this healthcare bill passed, and I don't think it will, I call it the Caesar bill because it's going to die on the floor of the Senate. Mm-hmm. But if it did, and 24 million Americans lost their coverage, I respect your point of view, caller, but I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for the people who would lose it. I'm fighting for the people who don't want a guy who got 5 deferments from Nam sending their kids off to fight a war because his poll numbers are down today. And for anyone who, doesn't want a guy who grabs women by the pussy being in charge of the White House. I think that this country was founded on dissent, and I respect your argument, and I hope you'll respect mine.
I'd also like to say Trump did have bone spurs in his heels as a young man, even though he's able to play baseball in college.
But it's that he supported the war. That's what pisses me off, right? Like Bill Clinton and Muhammad Ali, they weren't draft dodgers. They were draft defiers. They opposed the war. They didn't want to go. George Bush, Dick Cheney, Mitt Romney, Rush Limbaugh, Newt Gingrich, Phil Gramm, Donald Trump all supported sending other men to fight and die in Vietnam, and all bent over backwards to find ways to avoid them going. Right. That's draft dodging. That pisses me off. And when you look at how Trump has insulted prisoners of war and Gold Star families and lied about raising $6 million for vets, as somebody who cares about the military, I got a big problem with that kind of phoniness being commander-in-chief. But he's the president. I'm not disputing that. We're just putting the pressure on to remind him that he didn't win the popular vote, and the majority of people would like to see him represent the majority of people.
John Fugelsang has put together a bunch of heavy hitters this Wednesday, May 17th. WTF Donnie, it's Rosie O'Donnell, it's Judy Gold, it's Judah Freelander, and you can hear John every day 2 to 5 on Insight Channel 121. Tell me everything. Great to see you, buddy.
I love your show.
Thanks.
You have such a brilliant, diverse listening audience. It's always a pleasure to come here and drag your show down to my level. I really appreciate it, Ron. Thank you.
It's fun for us, too. See you next time. We'll be back. Bennington. It's a Bennington show. Barry Crimmins is on Conan tonight. They're rerunning his appearance, which was a big one. And also my young friend Vlad Kamano, who all the networks seem to be running after right now, is on one of these TV shows. Let me check. Jimmy Kimmel.
Nice.
Tonight. Jimmy Kimmel tonight. So that's Crimmins on Conan. Vlad on Kimmel. Shag it out. Gail and I just had a wonderful experience going down to watch Styx open up their Artist Confidential with Renegade.
Nice.
Renegade is on the news.
It is. I mean, here's the thing. You can't take that song away from them. That song is so damn good.
They got about 8 radio hits. I mean, tonight's the night. They do all that. By the way, Styx is Wiki's favorite band of all time.
His all-time favorite, he said.
This is for interesting. Alan Hunter flew in. Alan Hunter was one of the early MTV, one of the original 5. And he flew in to be part of this. And I believe Alan Hunter was in the video Fashion by David Bowie before.
Really?
And yeah, he did that before he became a VJ.
I didn't recognize him. I was very shocked.
It's you're used to seeing him with that little clown nose on doing Fashion, but Vito, I heard that you were at the stand Thursday night.
Yeah, I went by Thursday night.
Well, thanks for following that up with that. You've actually took it further, but because I saw an old employee of ours who Chris Stanley has a problem with, Shelby. Shelby takes pictures down there on Thursday
that's cool.
nights.
I had no idea.
But yeah, he does like a bunch of different comedy gigs in town. It's one of them. But he said that you came in with a young lady.
What?
And I checked to see if it was Jen, and he's like, I don't know. I don't really notice her. And I'm like, Shelby, you're fluid. You're just not understanding it. Who would you have with you?
I brought a girl that I met at the bar I work at.
Whoa!
Dater boy! There's a new dater boy in the house.
Oh!
How'd it go?
Is it getting serious between you two?
We went on a few dates. She's a nice girl, so.
You playing it slow?
Yeah, it is the first time I've went on a second date since me and my ex broke up.
Nice. So you felt like it was a good second date?
Did the stand take care of you?
I got in, and that's all I wanted.
You didn't win anything else?
No, they got me in, didn't pay for my tickets, but that's all I wanted.
Who was all there that night?
Yamanika Saunders was there.
She's so funny.
She's crazy.
Dan St. Germain was there.
All right, this is a great show.
Yeah, it was a really good show. I had to leave early to get to dinner after.
Now tell me, how did it go? Because that could be like a bit of a litmus test. Did you think
stand-up shows?
Was she enjoying the same comics you were enjoying? Was she enjoying the jokes?
Yeah, So she really liked everybody. The only thing I didn't like is that she kept like turning and being like, "That's true." And like,
you don't like when they do that?
No, I just watch the show. Just kind of like sit there.
She's probably excited.
I like when people yell, "It's funny because it's true."
And when the comic was like, "Anybody here from Manhattan?" She was like, "We're from Manhattan. Should we say anything?" And I was like, "No,
yeah, you should." Cute. I like her.
I think she's cute.
I like her better than a lot of the skanks that my own Chris Stanley has been dating since Tinder.
Yeah.
By the way, send Jen in. I want to see if she's nervous about this or upset. But I know you're a TV guy, and there's a thing up on the iBang about who isn't coming back, who is coming back. I say True TV is booked a bunch of our friends on there, which is great. And I don't know what Bobcat is going to be doing with them. Look into that. I just saw his picture up there. But here are the two big cancellations that have rocked people to the core. Two broke girls, they let go.
Yeah.
Now these girls, I don't know if they wrapped it up and they got their cupcake place. I know that was
the dream, right?
It seems like it just started, but the fact that cupcakes were hot when the show started, and not cronuts. But if you remember, Kat Dennings was the it girl for a quick moment until she got the TV show. Remember the other it girl, 500 Days of Summer?
Yeah.
She was like the it indie girl. They gave her a TV show and she just like, I don't know. She's mainstream success. And then the other show that they were upset about is Tim Allen had a show on Friday nights. I've never seen it because Friday nights is not a TV night for me, okay? That's when the Eagle's flying, all right? The Eagle's flying on Friday. So I was out. But conservatives were mad because it was kind of a conservative show. Somebody told me, yes, because he's a conservative guy, conservative ex-Coke dealer. And like they said, it was the kind of show where like they were saying to the kids, you have to understand, a lot of good jobs come from fracking, including moms. You know what I mean? So it was like a pro-fracking show, and off it went. Any other shows that we would know that aren't coming back that we should feel bad about, Vito?
I know the Zooey Deschanel show is on the edge right now.
I didn't know that.
It's coming. They did like a possible series finale. They're still finding out if they're going to get like a short season order. Some ABC comedies got canceled. Like there was this one, The Real O'Neills, that got canceled that people liked. That show
was 2 years ago.
No, that just got canceled this year.
And I got it confused with another show.
And what else got? Imaginary Mary. That was the guy who does the Goldbergs. He had another show.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
the Goldbergs is a big hit.
Yeah,
they gave them 2 more years, and they said they got rid of 2 broke girls so they could do a show that's a kind of a spinoff from the Big Bang called Young Sheldon, and it's just supposed to be Sheldon when he was 8 or something. I don't know how people are going to react to Young Sheldon.
Did Bloodline get canceled?
Yeah, they're ending it after 2 years.
Now, what happened there? They had a line of blood? Sounds great.
I mean, there's the blood.
That was a show where they were in the Florida Keys on Netflix.
Oh, I watched the first few episodes.
Good. It was a very good drama.
I forgot to keep up with it.
Yeah.
I heard season 2 wasn't very good. I love season 1. I didn't get into season 2.
I had a similar thing, so I wonder where the reason that this happened.
I do like the Keys, though. I'd like to see more shows about the Keys. I like that you could have, because I remember we used to do a thing called, I think it was Key West Police Report on our show when I was in Florida, because you just read off nutty shit. I mean, in the nuttiness that is Florida, the Keys is the nuttiest.
It's like, it's Florida man for the Florida man.
By the way, I met a very pretty middle-aged woman the other night who used to be a 95 YNF Angel when I was there. Yes. It was a very highly regarded role that you get. It was somewhere in between, let's say, Dallas Cowboy cheerleader and Hooters girl.
Yeah.
It was somewhere in between there. The 95 YNF Angels, go out and meet them. There'll be a sticker stop later on this afternoon.
Very coveted.
It was very important for us to get our stickers on people's trucks. Jen, I know you're dishing, but I heard that your report came back of what your ethnic background was. Have you read it yet?
I have not read it.
All right, why don't pass it over to me, and I'll see if you know if you're going to be surprised by anything. Now, this is a DNA test. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So you did was it like a cheek swab
yes,
test?
It was like a cheek swab. Like I had to get like a ear, what is the thing called?
Earwax?
Q-tip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but inside your cheek.
Yeah.
I could probably figure out your ethnic background if you just pee in my hand. That's all I ask people to do. If you pee in my hand.
Warmer than I expected.
All right, so here you are. I'm going to get your full estimate of what you are. All right, now, you define yourself as what? Go ahead over to your mic.
Okay, so I define myself as Trinidadian, West Indian.
Okay. Now, there are some amazing things here. When it comes to the Middle East, 0%.
That was your big guess, was you thought...
we all have Middle East in us, I assumed. From the Americas itself, which I guess would be more of...
Like native culture?
Yes.
Yeah.
0%. I thought you were going to have some Indian culture. Oceania, which I don't believe exists.
Made up.
Well, what do they call Oceania now, Chris? Is that Australia?
That's Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah. Why add New Zealand? Because it's just Australia. That's the thing. That was the continent when I was around. Now
Fiji, right?
Yeah.
Fiji might be in that group.
You've got 0%.
Okay.
So let's see what you do have. And this, I've never seen anything like this in my life. European percent, you are 31% European.
Wow.
31%. A little under a third. African background, which they don't really, you're 31%. And Asia, you're 36%.
Wow.
So you are like a pie divided into thirds.
Wow.
That's really weird.
Yes.
I knew it was going to be Asian because my mom told me that, like, I'm Chinese and, like, I know my mom's side has Indian, my dad's side has Indian.
You are a third everything.
Yeah.
It's super weird.
That's
The
really
European surprises me, though.
Why is that?
Because I didn't think I had that much European descent in my family.
Let me explain this to you. The Europeans raped. So you might not hear about them, but they are there.
You're 1/3 rape baby.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to tell you.
But Asia surprises me more than anything. Because I thought we were going to find African, European, and some kind of...
Middle Eastern or...
No, I thought there was going to be like native... Because a lot of the European comes from Middle East as well.
Yeah.
I had like northern stuff fall into me and a lot more Eastern European than I even agree with because I'd never even heard about that in my family. But what they also want mine is I'm 93% pure soul, pure Philly soul. Tired of being alone.
That's weird.
Yours is fascinating. Fascinating. I've never saw... I mean, she's mostly Asian. But there's 5% more Asian than the other two. But this is almost a pie divided into thirds.
All right, I have a question about how these tests work. Do your genes tend to prefer the traits of a certain lineage? Or if I took this test, would it be a perfect cross-section of what your test would be and my mother's test? Like, does it show that? Does it show, like, what your genes tend to prefer, like traits or things that you're most like? Or is it just like, here's your background?
Here's your background. Here's the genetic background.
Interesting.
Just because you're from a place doesn't mean that you have personality traits from that, I don't think. A lot of that would have to be cultural. But also, to be totally honest, this test that she took probably couldn't have been taken 20 years ago. So will these things be more and more defined?
Yeah.
As time goes on, I would suspect yes. Now, Chris, you would be interesting to do since you don't have a living relative.
I got no one to ask where the hell I'm from or what I am. I know Justin from Montreal thinks I'm Native American.
Well, you do have a little bit of Native American look, and so did your dad.
Yeah, and I'm not very hairy, so which I hear is a Native American trait.
It's also a lack of testosterone, which I've long suspected with you.
I got low T?
Yeah. It's not low T for you, it's a normal amount of T. But you're not a particularly masculine man.
I gotta get this test, because I gotta figure out once and for all what actually I am.
Well, did your family ever say we are?
They would say we're Irish.
Yeah, and you are Catholic, right?
Yes, I was raised Catholic.
So when you're a Catholic, you have a tendency to already know that person either tends to be Hispanic, Italian, or Irish. Those are the fucking three big, or Polish, of course, too. So those are the three big ways. Now, could mean that you're French or blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know when your family came into catechism. Could have been 2 generations ago. Somebody could have forced a family member to. Yeah. That kind of shit happens all the time, too.
I also think I might be part English, but I mean,
there's no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Irish, there's also Anglo-Saxon.
And I also heard German. That was the last thing I, like, from,
The Anglo-Saxon mean the Germanic people who came there as well. So we all have those kind of mix. Mine, I expected that to be all I had, was going to be Irish, English, and German, and there'd be some Eastern European stuff and Northern African, and I'm like, I never heard anything about this. But you don't know where people moved around from.
No, I have no idea. I know there was a grandfather I never met who was from England, and that's it. And then I heard like fucking in passing, maybe German.
That's on your mom's side?
Yeah, my mom's side.
Now, what do you consider yourself, Jen, if anyone asked you?
Now I don't know.
Because I think you're Asian, and I'm suddenly saying it in a way I didn't before.
Japanese.
I see you as K-pop. I see you as a Korean pop group.
Would you call her, and this is quote, I don't say this term, but would you call her a Blasian? I know that they use
I've never heard that term.
Black Asian.
Yeah.
See, I would say, I always
you're
used to
kind
think
of a Blasian.
Yeah, but then the European, like, it's also kind of a third European. So in that kind of
1/3 European. You got a little Harry Styles look about you, though.
You do.
And you're fluid in your sexuality.
Just
Sometimes
like
you're with girls.
So true. You know how gay you are,
By the
right?
way, Rolling Stone just said that Harry Styles is the next Sinatra. That Harry Styles will be around the rest of your life.
Well, if you had told me this pre his solo album, I'd be like, I don't know. Yeah, he's a cute pop star. I'm not familiar with any One Direction songs, but it does seem like we're saying his name. However, I listened to a couple songs from that album, and I'm like, that's kind of legit. Like the song that he performed on SNL, I was impressed with.
I fast forward to it. I didn't pay attention to it. That's
it was
my
very
fault.
good.
I have a tendency to do that. Chris Stanley won't. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, by the way, knows more about African history and particularly African American history than anybody I've ever met. He's written books on Harlem that are so in depth and so in the history of Harlem.
He does like Harlem Renaissance books.
Unbelievable stuff.
I should check that out because I love reading about Harlem Renaissance.
He is so fucking smart and a great writer. He makes documentaries on it too. And you'll find out some jazz, he knows more about jazz right now than most living people. I would say Kareem, me, and then 2 other dudes. They really got their shit together a lot. Jen, are you upset to hear that Vito's taking somebody else around after you and him were going to go on a wedding date together?
Get used to it. It happened to me.
We're still going to be going to a wedding together, Jen. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Why don't we do this? If both of you are mad at him, let's keep him out of Montreal.
No.
Do it.
Don't take away that vacation from me.
I don't like moaning.
Jen, we still got to go suit shopping, and you have to choose a suit that matches your dress color, like you said.
What was it that she demanded you get a matching vest?
A vest that matched her dress.
I like it. I like that you guys are going to this prom date.
Yeah, I wanted to do a proposal to her.
And
just show up with a big sign in the middle of the studio one day that says, "Will you go to Lewis's wedding with me?"
Look how happy you guys are with him in studio instead of Chris.
Oh, yeah.
How come you're over there today, Chrissy?
Thought I'd switch it up. Get Vito some reps in there.
You know what I like? Keep it like this every day.
Okay. Yeah. It's so fun, you hear the laughter.
You look like a wreck when I came in here today, like a nervous wreck.
You did seem pretty tense. Maybe it's the smoking that makes him look more tense, but he was like chain smoking and you did
Plus,
seem
I don't like to see a French inhale from an adult. That seems like a teen thing to do.
Yeah. It's a little corny.
That's my thing, I'm bringing it back.
Oh, this is my favorite story over the weekend, and they can't figure it out. But Sean Spicer hates Dippin' Dots, and this is over the last 7 years. It's nothing new. He will out of nowhere just write, Dippin' Dots are not the ice cream of the future.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to come out and say this, and I know Gail's on the other side of I'm agreeing with him on Dippin' Dots. 100%. I heard they were the future 20 years ago, and then I heard they were the future 2 days ago. At some point, you got to break through.
Still farther in the future.
Yes. Now, why do you love Dippin' Dots?
I find them to be delicious. I find them to be fun. I like the texture of them. And I can remember the first time I had them, which is when we went to the Crazy Horse Monument. Yeah. And you were like, guys, we're looking at a monument here. We're like, these are great. I mean, they're ice cream, but they're little balls. Isn't it texture thing. I don't know what it is. And you're like, everybody focus.
I'm like, Indians used to live here. They're turning this mountain into a giant Indian. Stop talking about the Dippin' Dots. I forgot that. That's really funny.
And then when they finally came to my mall, I was just like the Crazy Horse Dippin' Dots are here. Okay, this is great. Things are looking up.
Chris, have you ever eaten a Dippin' Dot?
I had them once years ago, and I never went back.
So you are leaning Sean Spicer's way. And even Gail, who says that she loves Dippin' Dots, hasn't seen these things. I mean, she's only had it like maybe 5 times in your life.
So good, but only a couple times.
Vito, Dippin' Dots.
They used to be at the water park I went to growing up called Campbell Beach in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Every year I would have some Dippin' Dots. I loved it.
But you don't get yourself a Dippin' Dot if you're going out for ice cream.
Oh, no. It's specifically a Campbell Beach treat.
You know, that's the thing. I probably would if I could, but maybe they haven't broke through the way they were.
They're in New York, though.
They
Dippin'
have
Dots has been in New York, yeah.
They have a brick and mortar?
Yeah, I believe I don't know about the mortar, but there's an actual store here. Now, Jen, have you had Dippin' Dots?
I have, yeah. First time I had it was like on a school trip to the Liberty Science Center.
Yeah, why is it always at a weird place? Yeah, they're always at a weird place. They're just not where they belong.
This feels like they pitched to Shark Tank, and it was like one of those things like, we don't think they would fit everywhere, but this is the kind of treat you get when you're on a school trip. And you're like, Barb, I don't think so.
I believe Sean Spicer has kept them from rising up, and I want to thank him for that.
But there is no explanation of what is his specific beef, whether it's personal, whether it's business.
He just says they're not the ice cream of the future. And I agree with that. Because by the time we first had Dippin' Dots, this would have been the future, and they're not the ice cream of now. If they were going to break through. Now, I saw this as part of my trivia hive that I play every day. By the way, I've been running 100% over the past month. I'm very excited about that.
Whoa. I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, I don't know how I got on it, but they send me a trivia question every day. I'll go like this. Oh, shit. I'm at 100%. I need this to keep that there. Or it'll take you a full month before you can get back to 100. What pizza was the first to be delivered in space? All right. So I guess they set up this pizza with one spacecraft. There were people in I'm going to say a Skylab of some type, and they were delivered pizza. Which pizza company did it?
I'm going to guess Little Caesars.
My guess is going to be the classic Pizza Hut.
Jen.
I'll say Domino's.
Domino's dominates, I like to say. I wanted that to be the thing. Get dominated by Domino's. Vito.
I'm going to guess Domino's.
So you, unlike Jen, if somebody's on that square, you're like, I'll go on that square with you. But Jen's like, oh, I want to go on the Pizza Hut square. No, I'll move over to Domino's. It's interesting to see how people are.
Yeah. It's interesting the way they
You
play.
didn't think that you had to get a new one for your own, even though there's other stuff like Little Caesars.
No, I wouldn't be right.
Caesars was mine.
Oh, there was?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that you had Little Caesars.
No one was listening to you.
Yeah.
Come on. And the only other one I could think of was Ray's, and I didn't think they did.
You must raise which one?
Original. Ray's original. The original Ray's original. Let's see, with Little Caesars, it's avoid what? Avoid the...
Noid.
Avoid the Noid.
No, that's Domino's.
That's Domino's. Little Caesars hot and ready.
Yeah, Domino's is avoid the Noid.
I'm sorry, Chris.
The Noid wasn't a Little Caesars character?
No, that's Pizza. That's so different.
What did I say? Pizza.
Pizza. Brilliant.
I would say plastic for them. But see whenever you can see if he walks back past there, okay?
We'll do.
Too bad we missed the rest of that Sticks show. Looks like it was good, although I do understand that we're going to play some new stuff.
At least
one of you guys picked it. Or should I say two?
Oh.
But that would be lying. It's Pizza Hut.
Yay! You should hop on my square, Jen.
Now, while Gail's bragging about that, I will tell you that when she was a little girl, she called it Pizza Hot.
Okay, I thought it was about the temperature of the pizza.
And she goes, why can't we get Pizza Hut? And I go, honey, first of all, that's fucky pizza. And we don't want that. We want a nice, fresh one made by an old Italian lady that I found. She's making it in her own house. The renegade is here again. What's your favorite of all the Styx songs?
I guess "Come Sail Away." Is that Styx? Yeah, this is actually my favorite. Yeah.
Sail away, sail away, sail away. That's not
that's Enya.
You just like that.
That's
you
fucking
bastard.
Enya, who I love, by the way.
Well, I only know her from that stuff. Some people are saying Beck Bennett is Mr. SNL white guy these days. Beck got a lot more work than I ever expect him to get. That's for sure.
I think that position is in peril for him.
James Woods posted a tweet saying Anderson Cooper's eyes rolled because his butt plug fell out. And there are some people mad at Mr. Woods for saying that.
First of all, he cannot prove this.
And then he went back and said, I'm the one who said it, baby. And people said somebody must have hacked his account.
He owned up to it. I love James Woods.
Well, James Woods, he doesn't get the chance to work as much as he used to, but he's a fucking great actor.
He's amazing. I loved him forever. He also, on his Twitter, mocked out someone who died who had sued him. It's like, guess what? You're dead.
He, for being a celebrity, he will get down in the mud and in the dirt.
He loves it, man.
With the fucking trolls.
Is Renegade your favorite Styx song?
I don't know what it is. I was going to say Blue Collar Man. I want to be a blue collar. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Styx guy in the world. They got a bust it once during this fucking Styx show when they were opening for Aerosmith. I'm like, I can't take this Styx. I'm going to go fucking sell some dope in the bathroom.
Oh, no.
And mistake. Undercover cop. Cheating. Wear a uniform.
That's not fair.
Well, the actual cop said to me, like when they took me to the Roundhouse in Philly, like they go, you know how stupid you have to be to sell fucking THC to a cop? I go like this. First of all, he wasn't dressed as a cop, or it wouldn't have happened. He's wearing a Flyers jersey, which made me feel like he might be the kind of guy who might like to snort a little fucking THC at an Aerosmith show. Put him in a uniform. I'm not going to go near him, offer him anything. You're the fucking cheater, not me. You don't see me dressed as a cop walking around trying to fool people.
Is Mr. Roboto
Yes.
as well?
They don't like to discuss that anymore, though.
Oh.
They got rid of the guy who was behind the whole... Dennis DeYoung was behind the whole Mr. Roboto play as a rock show thing. Omega, Mr. Roboto, Domo. Doug in Strong Island.
What's happening, guys?
You, buddy. You're happening.
Well, I thought it was ironic because out here on Long Island, Pizza Hut doesn't deliver. It's only takeout or dine in. So it's kind of funny that they sent the pie up to space.
That's fascinating. I didn't even consider that thing, but I, you know.
If you're out of the delivery zone?
You're out of the delivery zone. They'll have not a lot to do with you. I'm starting to worry about your addiction with that. It's getting to be a lot.
It's not addictive.
Yeah, but you're doing it like an addict would. She's just doing this little popper in her nose constantly.
It's not a popper.
You're doing poppers in there?
Yeah.
No, it's not a popper. It's like peppermint oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's non-addictive.
But you're going to it every couple seconds.
That's because I quit smoking.
Quit smoking vapes.
Yeah.
This is where we are right now.
It's the
tough to
future.
get off of vape. Yeah, we are living in the Dippin' Dot future.
I was like, if I had some Dippin' Dots to pop, believe me, I'd be doing it. But I can't get a hold of the stuff.
Well, your friend is 1/3 Asian. See if she can't get you some opium. The Asians did like that fucking opium. The pipe.
Fucking dens, just all whacked out.
And they would always call it a den. There's no other drug that's called like a den. Why don't you go into the Quaalude den?
It's not a crack den, it's a crack house.
Yes.
Crack got a little more respect.
Well, the thing is, I don't think so, because a den sounds nice, but a lot of crack houses, 99% of them are apartments.
Yeah, but I think the dens were actually shitty, because that's just like, I feel like a den's just a room in an apartment as opposed to a whole crack house.
A den can be very, very nice in the suburbs.
I don't think I've ever been
Let's retire to the den. The nicest place you can go? Credenza.
I don't even know what a credenza is. What's a credenza?
You never will, my friend. A credenza is a place where we don't allow people like you. All right, this is up on the iBank today. Tinder and sites like that, they say lower your self-esteem. And yet, why, if you had self-esteem, would you be on Tinder in the first place?
I've done great for my self-esteem.
You think you feel better about yourself since you've joined Tinder versus...
Oh, hell yeah. Since before I was just fucking...
But do you ever get, like...
Appless life?
Does it ever make you feel bad when you, like, super like someone and they don't even give you a swipe? Or if you're, like, trying to work someone and they, like, bounce you completely?
It feels shitty for, like, a little bit, but, like, I'm swiping right on everything. And it's just, I know there will be another match coming soon enough. So in that sense, the way I use it, I don't feel bad at all about myself. I felt great since the beginning of the year.
I've never seen you upset because I know that you've probably hurt some people. You even said the one crazy girl.
Well, Mr. Big was very...
Who you should have stayed with.
God, no.
I liked her.
I want nothing to do with her.
She seems like the one.
No, she's not.
She's still the one.
She was never the one?
Ray, Georgia, what's up, buddy?
Hey, did you see where Powers Booth died over the weekend?
Yes, he's actually a friend of James Woods. I remember... Yeah, the first Powers Booth movie I think I watched, it was a TV movie that he won the Emmy for, and he played Jim Jones, the guy who killed all those people by making them drink the Kool-Aid. And I thought he was fucking great in that.
I've never seen that. That sounds great.
What?
I love Jim Jones. Well, he's a bad person, but, it's an interesting story.
Vito, as annoying as you are, you're better in this room than he is.
Thank you.
And I'll also say this. Your hat makes you seem adventurous.
He does seem like he's up for anything.
Yeah. I went on a date. Like, the hat's already given me.
That's true. You were not dating until you put that hat upon your head.
And here's the difference between Chris and Vito. Chris has had 2 dates, and he's not making any moves. Chris immediately takes the girl's hand, puts it on his crotch at a bar.
Right.
So, I mean, like, if you have to go by, Vito is a gentleman.
Yeah.
He's a gentle man.
So true.
And Chris Stanley is a borderline sex assaulter.
Oh, come on.
AKA, Queen's rapist.
I'm not a rapist. I am
raper.
That is where you're from, is it not?
Yes, I'm from there, but I'm not a rapist. And one time I just took
raper.
I'm not a raper. I'm not a rapist. I'm none of those things. I like consensual sex with women of age. That's my thing.
I think that if you were in the history books, underneath your picture, it would say the raper of children.
Jesus Christ, no.
I agree.
I would never do that.
But you want to.
I don't.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that a lot of people who abuse children murder them because they're afraid that the children will talk?
Yeah, I think that's...
Thank you for the question. You may step down now.
I'm just saying if...
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the fact that he admitted to it.
I did admit that was a hypothetical situation.
Your Honor, please... I have the court right now. This rapist has told you why it became... Chris, you really can't do that in court. You can't speak out in court.
Will I be held in contempt?
Yes.
What happens when you're held in contempt?
You get jail time right away.
Oh, bullshit.
Yes.
Right away?
Yeah, that's
You'd have it right now for yelling bullshit in court.
You'd be taken
so this
away.
contemptor of courts, this raper of children, this murderer of preteens. Please, I implore you, look into your hearts and realize that he doesn't have one. Folks, look at him. Can't you see, just from the expression on the face that he would have, as he ejaculated on their young dead bodies?
Oh, my...
Oh, no.
They need your justice. They're calling you from the grave, the shallow grave that he put them in. He's laughing now, uncontrollably. And I believe he has an erection just thinking about the rapes and murders that took place.
I'm not hard, okay?
I'm not going to even ask you to go back and discuss it. I'd like to see us all discuss it out loud.
But we don't need
I would never do
There's no need for us to go.
We can all give our verdict in unison.
Yeah. Everyone tried to guess what kind of death we're going to give him. I say we bring back hanging.
Drawn quartered.
I wouldn't mind drawing quartered. Him, it would take a while.
It's cruel and unusual. Come on.
What's unusual about slicing a person into 4 pieces and having the horses drag him apart?
And first of all, I didn't rape or murder 8 children.
Please, you're in contempt.
Again?
Yes, again.
I gotta defend
So
myself.
you're going to get jail time before your quarter.
Each one of your quarters will be stuck away. Hey, I want to remind everybody, 6 o'clock tonight in the East. Check your clocks right now. 6 in the East. Nick DiPaolo is going to be on.
Oh, nice.
He's our buddy. He's fucking hilarious. He goes in the exact opposite direction as John Fugelsang.
You need that.
Yeah, you got to have everything here. Sirius XM, we have everything. We have sticks, okay, and we have stones. All right, it's a Sticks and Stones weekend, all weekend on 95 YNF. You'll be able to see the Angels out there doing a sticker stunt.
Let's check that out.
We've got stickers and donuts. But 6 o'clock over on Faction Talk, where people talk into factions.
Where we faction off.
Yeah. So it's 6 to 8.
I'm going to check it out. I'm so excited.
Live every night.
Channel 103, Faction Talk.
Fantastic. And tonight his guest is going to be Hillary Clinton.
Wow, that's a big get.
Yeah, oh yeah. What do you got? He's got them all.
I'm really impressed.
Dummy, got to Nick DiPaolo. What a click farm looks like. That's one of Chris's story. I don't want that. Oh, here's the big story, I think, of the weekend. Amy Schumer's show, her movie, did $17 million to finish second. $17 million. I'm going to go to Chris Stanley. Disappointment or delighted?
Delighted. For a comedy, $17 million, that's great.
Vito?
Disappointment.
Why?
Because the openings that they expect in this time of year, in like the start of the summer, should be more than that.
What should they have been?
Like, usually it's like 35. 35 is like
But
the
you
goal.
know this isn't an action film.
No, but like aren't the big summer comedies usually like 30 to 35? That's what they're looking for.
So you're saying disappointment. Gail?
I will say disappointment because it made less than Trainwreck, which I think was in that kind of
$30 million. Yeah. And Jen. But by the way, this is a completely different rollout than Trainwreck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you thought about the type of hype that went into Trainwreck, you weren't going to get that again. Jen, what about for you?
I thought it was good when I first saw it because it beat out a lot of other movies that I thought would do well.
Right. But not Guardians of the Galaxy, which, let's face it, that's a runaway train wreck of a movie. So 2 delights, 2 disappointments, and I'm going to say as the director of the film, I should not vote. I didn't want to make a big deal with you guys, but I directed and produced that film.
That's incredible. Well, first of all, congratulations, and let me just apologize for saying I was disappointed.
You say congratulations. I feel like I'm behind where I should be in life. That's the funny thing about it.
Well, you're humble.
Yeah, but for you, this would be a big deal. For me, it's almost disappointing. Chuck, Boston. Chuck.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, Chuck.
Didn't you say that you were more attracted to the younger girl on Modern Family?
He said he was attracted to the younger boy, Joe.
I'm not attracted.
Baby Joe?
Girl, right?
Baby Joe?
I'm not attracted to children.
At least
you
don't
say
really,
that?
Chris.
If you rank the physical attraction of the children on the show, you got Baby Joe number 1, who's number 2.
I don't know who Baby Joe is.
Lily number 2.
Which one's Ariel Winter? She's of age.
Oh, my God. But you said you were into her years before she was
Oh,
of age.
no. Okay.
I'm letting everyone know I would never sleep with anyone under 18 years old.
Why is this an everyday thing? Can we move you along?
Yeah,
Seriously.
We were actually talking about Powers Booth.
Yes.
And then he was just
Powers
like,
Booth.
I don't have sex with children.
Don't, Chris.
I feel like I have to defend myself when these accusations come up.
They don't come up. You just start saying them.
Do I?
Yeah.
I got a problem then.
All right. Now, here's a Bennington barometer for you. And then we're going to dish very, very quickly. But Gail had me take a test last night. Do you think I'm an introvert, extrovert, or what's the other one, Gail?
Ambivert, which is you display both characteristics of both introvert and extrovert.
Chris, kid raper.
I'm not a kid raper.
Please focus.
Ambivert.
Beats.
Extrovert.
Ambivert.
Tell them what I was, Gail.
Introvert.
Introvert.
Really?
Introvert.
Wow.
was what his personality leaned towards. Now, my guess also was ambivert, because that's kind of how I feel.
That's what you are.
Yes, that I have
But what
certain
did you
things.
come in as?
Extrovert.
No, you are. I think. If I look
probably
around
lean
here,
more extrovert.
Chris is very much an introvert.
Yes.
I would go extrovert for Vito.
Vito is definitely an extrovert.
I'm going to say ambivert for Jen.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I've seen her be quiet and kind of like listen in a group conversation, but I've also seen her be very outgoing. When she has a drink on
Jen always says to me, that her thing is to be a nun in the bedroom and a whore in the kitchen. And she does. She cooks like a whore, and then she puts her back to you in the bedroom. She prays in the bedroom.
Being so whorish as you cook.
It's bad. But you know
rubbing
what?
eggs on yourself.
Let's let Jen dish.
Really long intro.
It's like a dope was running the board today. Jesus.
Like literally, ladies and gentlemen, the scene in here, papers were flying, people are going.
For Fugle Sag. He just had everybody Fugle Sag papers.
Chris, you could have said it in my ear. You didn't have to just start waving.
It's not working. I've been fucking talking in your ear all day. You haven't responded once.
But you know Fugle Sag isn't coming back. I
thought he was.
Fugle Sag's back, and he's pissed.
Tommy Johnagin coming up in just a couple moments, but you wanted to dish first?
Yes, I have some juicy gossip.
Good.
Well, Kevin Hart is having a baby with his girlfriend for a very long time. Actually, wife now.
Yes,
wife.
they are wife.
Recently married.
She's
Nico
gorgeous
Parrish.
still.
Yes. She's actually very exotic looking too. She's Jamaican, but mixed with Chinese and...
By the way, I like the fact that you said two.
Much like myself, you're a gossip queen. She's also very attractive and perhaps Blasian.
Because when they were dating, I always thought I had a chance with him because he liked exotic girls. I was like, okay. But now I know it's just done because he's having a baby. So it's over.
No. Wow. Now, you don't even know him? You thought you had a shot with him.
I like the baby did it and not the marriage.
Yes.
She's like, well, now it's over. I mean, this is not going to work out. He's a dad now.
She really sees herself as...
I see this more as a dish on herself.
Yeah, I know it is.
Well,
yeah, they announced it on Mother's Day.
Yeah, you just turn around and look at... Oh, no, I thought that was Cream. It wasn't. I'm a racist. I just saw a tall black guy. Thought it was Cream. And I'm like, wait, Cream's like 6'6"?
It turns out this popular radio host is actually a racist.
Flaming racist.
He thinks everyone is Cream.
Just tall black guys. All right, go ahead.
So, yes, they're having a baby. They're expecting their first child.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Well, you know, the whole time that I saw him in the winter doing sets, it had to be like him and his wife were admiring somebody else's cute baby. You know what I mean? I had them thinking, do we want another baby?
Baby fever.
Yeah.
So, next we have Kris Jenner posted on Mother's Day, like all these different, like a collage of pictures with her family and excluded Caitlyn. So she put like her ex-husband, Robert Kardashian.
Who is the children's father, though?
Well, half of her kids' father.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. I always forget that the Jenners are hers.
Yeah.
They are.
She did birth those. Caitlyn was not mother and father to those children.
I wonder if Caitlyn spent a Mother's Day or she considers herself, they still call her dad.
Yeah.
Even though she has as she calls it, a Bruce Gina. Doesn't she say that?
But I'm sure she would have loved a shout out from her ex.
You know what? It's up for Bruce to put up, Caitlyn to put up pictures of Bruce. Not, you know what I mean? That's your ex. You can't expect anything out of an ex.
Right.
You know? And I always say this to my friends. You're not just divorcing your wife, you're also divorcing your children. Remember that.
God.
I just don't believe I don't believe in weekend parents. I don't. You're either 100% in or out.
I'm divorcing this family.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Kids. It's crazy for me to act like I'm going to be here every weekend. That's nuts. I got to have weekends to myself. I sleep late.
I'm just like a casino dealer. You're just like, I've done my time here. Thank you.
But I don't think that you're helping by just being around on every other weekend. I think if anything, you're a fucking distraction. I would say.
What do you think about co-parenting? Like when people live in the same space with their ex and co-parent their children.
Then why get divorced? Just live in the same space. Mommy and Daddy Daddy sleeps in the den.
Yeah. Mom and Dad.
Very nice, as you know.
Kids, Mom and Dad don't have sex. I just want you to know that.
Hey, I had fucking friends whose mom and dad were in separate bedrooms. And, yeah.
Was that like a common thing then? Because I had a great aunt and uncle who had separate beds.
Oh.
Ange.
Yeah. But you know what? Those people are past child rearing age.
But still I feel like usually you still expect your grandparents to share a bed.
Yes, but some people like to spread their shit out. You know what I mean? Like, I share a bed, but you go to Hampton Inn and there's 2 beds? Fantastic. What are you going to do? Push them together like an idiot? No. Have your own bed and your own lamp. I don't know how we hijacked this.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go on and dish.
So the next dish is from SNL, Pete Davidson. He talked about it this weekend on Weekend Update. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about his rehab. Yeah. So he talked about horse therapy and, having it, charged so much. And it was actually $40,000 for his rehab. Wow.
Yeah, but, a lot of times insurance covers blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Really? That much?
I don't know, 40.
Yeah, 40
depends on what kind of insurance you have. I mean, if I went to one now, I'd pay 40. But that's all inclusive.
Really?
Yeah, even open bar the entire time.
Wait a second.
Horses are expensive.
Yeah. Especially horse therapy, that sounds pretty expensive.
Well, yeah, horse therapy is when a horse hypnotizes you.
Nice.
And the last dish story of the day is Monique. She blasts Oprah, Lee Daniels, and Tyler Perry.
God, I love her.
No, this is not good. It's the Queen Oprah. And she was doing a comedy stand-up special on Saturday, and she basically told everyone they could suck her dick if she had one.
On stage. She's like, these people can suck my dick.
I agree with her. Those 3 can suck my dick as well. Who are they?
Lee Daniels, Oprah, and Tyler Perry.
Now, they're all doing well, so I don't give a shit what Monique has to say.
Because she said, I think the idea was she was saying like she was kind of blackballed by them.
She
or whiteballed, as she called it.
Dude, I hate when I get whiteballed.
Whiteballed by people with no balls, or something like that.
All right, that's it for the dish. Let's break. We come back. Tommy Johnagin in the house. Bennington. It's the Bennington Show. Nick DiPaolo starts his show today at 6 o'clock over on the Faction channel. Make sure you check that out. He's a very funny guy. And our pal, and another funny pal is here, Tommy Johnagin.
Hey.
Yeah.
Who, unlike Nick DiPaolo, when you stop in, you bring lovely cigars and a really fantastic butter cake.
Yeah, I fully understand that no one has a reason to like me, so I will buy my way into it. I'll just pay for it.
Yes.
That's what you do with your kids.
You kind of are the likable, unlikable guy. You know what I mean? Like,
it's nice to walk that line. I think women like that.
Anytime someone says they like me or don't, I get it.
Yes.
I'm like, I totally understand all of your views.
That you explained to me that you treat your opening acts like shit. So I like...
I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, you said once that you put your opening acts through some shit. And I've always laughed about it. You say you don't care whether they get to eat or not. And I enjoyed that.
Who cares about that?
Now, I wanted to ask you a question, too, because you have kids, right?
Yeah.
2
girls.
There's a story now, and it's very big in Brooklyn, whether or not people should be bringing their kids to bars, which there is a whole class of people who do now. And I'm not saying they take them to a restaurant that serves drinks.
It's a bar.
They go to a bar.
I didn't even know it was legal.
Yeah. It's actually illegal to say, I'm not allowing you in here with your children.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah.
If you serve any food, so it's even just bar snacks. Like, let's say you're not a restaurant. Let's say you're a bar with bar snacks. Then you can say that someone is too young to be there because you serve food.
Does that mean a 15-year-old kid can walk into a bar by himself?
No, I think you have to be...
You have to be with an adult.
You have to be with an adult, but you can't say, hey, your 3-year-old can't be in here.
What? I always think this. If there's a pool table or the kind of threat that a fight is going to break out, you're stupid to have your child. You're an alcoholic yourself.
I think that's not part of the law, because when they were writing, can 15-year-olds go, they're like, no, fucking, a 15-year-old kid shouldn't be able to go into a bar. And then someone was like, well, should we put in here that people can't bring their 3-year-olds? And they were like, there's no fucking asshole that's going to do that. we don't even need to put it in there. Yeah. And then some drunk found a loophole.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll give you an example. So this was what was this, last week, the Kentucky Derby. So we went to go meet a friend to go watch the Kentucky Derby at a bar.
Yeah.
And this is a bar with some TVs, a backyard.
How bar is this bar?
It's
if
very
there's
bar.
a child there, it's full bar.
It's a full bar. There's not a waitress. You know what I mean? Like you go to the bar, there's some two tops, and then there's a backyard where smokers hang out. Yeah. Right? So
there's smoking and drinking.
There's smoking.
Okay.
And there's drinking.
Yeah, it's a Chuck E. Cheese. You just described a Chuck E. Cheese.
So, yeah, we get in there, and I would say there was no less, and I'm not exaggerating, 12 children. And people who had brought their kids, and then these kids are then not only, they're running back and forth from the outside to the inside.
Yeah.
Taking up tables and watching the TV where the horses are about to race.
Young parents, like 25-year-old parents?
I would say these are about 30 to 40-something parents, because these are Brooklyn, because Brooklyn people tend to wait a little longer.
Yeah.
But at 35 in Brooklyn is like a 25 anywhere else.
True. So I would say mostly these are 30s to early 40s parents, maybe even mid-40s. So these are adults, and they have their children ranging from, toddler to under 10, I would say. And they were running around, and at that point there were almost as many children in this bar as there are adults, and it did feel like a full-on Chuck E. Cheese.
I think, and this is not, I'm not speaking non-consensual, but I think anyone in a bar should be able to be fucked by someone else.
It does seem that way.
And if I'm not saying you should be able to fuck the kid if it doesn't want it, but if the kid is into it, and it's in a bar.
You bring that kid there, it could happen.
Here's my idea. Drink minimums.
Your
kid can come in, but your kid has to do no less than 2 shots.
Could there be? Could we just say items? You have to order 2 items, and it could be liquor or food.
Yeah. I don't agree with this, and I think it's a giant thing of we have a big generation of selfish parents right now. I think we have parents that when I'm including, I do a lot of things where I'm like, I try to have fun or just do nothing and have my kid like not be affected by the fact that I have children. Whereas I think a long time ago, like you have kids and it fully impacts every decision you can make socially or with your spare time. I'll have a sitter come on a Saturday and go smoke a cigar for 2 hours, but I don't bring my kid to the cigar shop.
Right.
So and I agree with you. If you're saying, honey, we should have drinks tonight, let's get a sitter. And I think that you're a better parent than if you bring the children along. Now, Vito, you had a single parent, right?
Yes.
Did she take you anywhere that would be inappropriate for you?
No, but when we went to the restaurant, I used to not want to eat what they ate, and I went and I sat at the bar a lot. At our Chinese
I think that's illegal.
Yes.
Yes. That actually is illegal. To actually sit at the bar, you do have to be 21.
But it's a bar casino, so does that make it better?
At Johnny Utah's, I always start my night having to operate the bull for children. The first 2.5 hours of my night at least has 3 or 4 children.
What time is this?
Like 6 to 8:30 or 9. There'll be kids because it's in Rockefeller Center, so it's like pretty touristy. And the amount of little kids who go on, and I'm just like, I don't want to be responsible.
And that's a bar.
And it's a bar. It's like, it's like kind of like it's a drinking bar. Like people go there to get fucked up.
I mean, in the daytime, that feels like a bar. It does not feel like a bar restaurant. Even though there are tables to sit down and eat, it just has a bar's environment.
Look, the mechanical bull is so we can decide whether she can fuck or not. That is the reason. Like, oh, look at her ride that bull. I bet she's sexy. You're not trying to see a girl get thrown from the bull.
Right.
You're watching her grind the bull.
Yeah.
So you can't put children on that. There's been pussy juices all over that.
Exactly.
I can't
want to see a 10-year-old boy grinding up on that bull.
I can't tell the kids no.
Chris,
and it's even worse that I can't throw the kid off. So it just turns into me doing
I'd fuck that kid up. I'd do the same, whatever you do when a hot chick gets on it, I do the same thing when that 10-year-old boy gets on it, and then keep my eyes on the crowd and arrest a couple pedophiles. I do citizen's arrest for some fucking creep that eases up to the fence there Just hides his dick behind the long post.
Would you still play?
Slow it down. Slow that kid down.
Would you still play Pony by Genuine?
I'd still play
while the
Pony.
child was on.
Red lights. Little smoke machine coming out.
Since that To Catch a Predator has been canceled, I think your bull is the only thing we have left to get these heads out of the bushes.
By the way, I don't even know if there's such a thing as a citizen's arrest. I think that's something that doesn't even pass in court. I'm making a citizen's arrest. Well, you can't. Chris, you got her getting cake for you?
Yeah, I thought I'd maybe get a piece of cake.
You get that after the show for being in the other room. But make sure you get some of these things as well. Because
I'm gonna try some of them for you.
It's unbelievable.
What are those?
This is like some saucy situation.
Yeah, sauces with it. Oh, nice.
Dip your cake into.
You talking jam with it?
It's jammy, yeah.
Yeah, but this cake is unbelievable.
It's really, really good.
I've heard. The butter cake. When you have a dairy problem, it's the most. It affects my life on a daily basis.
I can't imagine.
Dairy, I would find that if I had the dietary restriction, that would be harder for me than
gluten?
Gluten would be difficult, but I was thinking meat. Like if somebody said meat or dairy, you have to give one up forever, I would go, buy meat.
Well, the problem is I can eat a cookie or something that has a little bit of dairy in it, and I'll be fine. But there are things that the amount of dairy in this cake would be a day ruiner. And then you also have to, just because it's just a little bit of dairy, it'll just make you feel uncomfortable. So you go to a restaurant, you have to pretend like, I pretend like it's a deadly allergy everywhere I go. And then they get real fucked when I order the cake at the end. I'm like, this fucking guy just lied to me.
I know.
Yeah.
This son of a bitch made me talk to the chef for no reason.
I had this happen to me when I was a waitress that, someone, told me that they didn't want, they didn't tell me they didn't want tomatoes in a salad. The salad comes out and they're like, oh my gosh, I know that it seems like I could just pick this out, but I'm allergic, so could you just remake the salad? And I'm like, oh yeah, totally. Sorry about that. Remake the salad. And then literally 10 minutes later, she's trying her friend's tomato sauce and I'm diving at her like, that's tomato sauce. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did kind of lie. I just hate the taste of raw tomatoes. And I was like, I still would have remade it. And you made me dive at you and be like, tomato sauce has tomatoes in it.
I'm going to side with this broad. Because I know you would have made a new salad, but most people would go back there and pick those fucking tomatoes out. Most people would do that. I say anything I don't like, I say I'm allergic to it, and I dare you. I'll fucking die on this table. You bring me avocados on this sandwich. I'm not even allergic. I just hate them that much.
You hate avocados?
I'll make somebody put a knife in my throat for a breathing tube before I'll eat an avocado.
You live in a strange place. They hate avocados because they force in California avocados into everything.
It's in the avocados so much like, you know how you order a burger and there'll just be a tomato on it. They won't tell you there's a tomato on it. That's like avocados out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My whole family, my chick, my two kids, we all hate avocados. We hate guac. My girlfriend and I met on an anti-avocado dating site. You just fuck through. You just kind of fuck and look at guac and talk about how much you hate it. It's terrible. And I truly, it does make me mad, cause I don't have a lot of things to be mad about. I'm, upper middle class white guy. So I gotta pick and choose. But it's avocados sneaking on, they put it on burgers now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On your salad. They'll smear it on shit. It's insane.
But the first time I ever had a real fresh avocado, they snuck it into a turkey club when I was in LA, and I go like this. Excuse me, why am I biting into heaven? What just happened here? They said that's the avocado.
No.
I take those fucking toothpicks from that club sandwich and jab them in someone's eye.
No, this is interesting because avocado would be one of those foods that I would think generally unoffensive to most people. Like that's one that I would have assumed. I think we can all agree avocados are pretty delicious.
People would say the same about tomato.
Right.
And I don't eat raw tomato. I love tomato sauce. You don't eat a watermelon, which seems insane to me.
Yeah.
That's like a joy thing. You have a joy problem.
That's like saying you don't like snow.
But here's the thing. I do understand that the majority of people find it delicious, and I do feel like there must be something wrong with me.
Okay.
Because I try it once a year, because I do think sometimes your taste... Yeah.
I think 7 years. Your taste buds change every 7 years. Is something I read.
So I keep checking it out because
I think I wrote.
One day I'm just going to wake up and be like, you know what, there's something about
I hope to God you do someday.
Yeah.
I'm different than you. I think everyone's wrong with avocados. I think you're all being fooled.
Chris, did you get a bite of this butter cake?
Not yet. I'll have to wait till after the show.
Oh, I make stuff up.
Oh, that's not real.
Yeah.
Jen, go get that cake.
Now the way you just spoke to her, I don't know. It was just so rude.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that you can't get your own cake. You gotta make Jen do it.
An order ends with a period. A polite ask ends with a question mark.
How do you like it? It's delicious. Now, not too long ago, I'm down in North Carolina. I have some oysters, and they have like a champagne thing on there. They put like a little champagne with the oysters. I said, I'm an alcoholic. I can't, have, is that actual champagne? He goes, yeah, but it's not very much. I go, what did I just fucking say to you about the alcohol? I'm not saying I'm going to get drunk.
Yeah, it's not about, I get drunk off of one sip of alcohol. But it's not what alcohol is.
You can handle it. Allergy person, it's a tiny.
You can handle it. You throw it close up a little bit. Just a little bit.
So I said like this, I'll turn you into the fucking oyster, pal. Because I like to threaten.
That's your go-to.
I mainly like to threaten women, so I love it when I have a problem with a waitress.
Oh, they're easy to beat.
Yeah, I will knock you the fuck out. You think I won't? You think I won't? You can tell who's been hit.
Bring your manager. Is it a woman? Is it a woman? Let me ask first. Is it a woman? Bring your manager if it's a woman.
Bring the highest ranking woman you have to this fucking table.
You're right. There's not going to let a woman run this place.
Do not bring any of the large people out of the kitchen that probably have committed crimes, and that's why they're working in the kitchen. I think most people would be surprised of who's in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
I think top, even into your nicer restaurant, obviously like fucking Emerald is not getting, I don't think he's got a bunch of drug charges on him, but I think he's got 4 people in this kitchen with a solid rap sheet.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
And I don't know why Emerald was the example I used there. I don't even know if he has a restaurant anymore.
No, he does. And he's doing great.
I've also never worked in a kitchen that I wouldn't say was at least 75% addicts, people who drank a lot or did drugs a lot. Pretty consistent with the nightlife.
You get to sleep in.
People
and the
are
pressure.
Fucking back there also.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's 100%.
They're very handsy.
Some handsy and some fucking in dry storage, in cold storage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of anal that takes place in the kitchen.
God, so much.
Mostly.
Right next to the salad section.
AIDS anal. If I had to guess. You ever work in a kitchen before, Vito?
I worked at a bar, so I worked with the kitchen people.
But you never felt like you were brutal enough to get back into the kitchen?
No, I never thought I could get back there.
That's where the toughies are. That's the tough people.
They're tough as shit.
I like being behind the bar. That was my zone.
Yeah, that's pussy. That's a girl's job. What you had. You might as well said, I like being a male cheerleader.
I like this look, Vito. I feel like this is the amount of crimes that have been solved under that hat.
Oh, yeah.
Very impressive to me.
I put the glasses on.
Let's do the full look.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
That makes you into you look more like a state cop. You go about being cool and look. But have you ever thought of just having some frames with either a clear glass or...
The clear glass hurts my eyes. I don't know what it is, but if I have those fake glasses that are just clear, it strains my eyes and it bothers me.
Are you sure you just put magnifying glasses? Do you think it's magnifying glasses?
No, it's not magnifying glasses.
They look just like regular glasses, so you put them on.
Yeah, I was talking to someone over the weekend that wants to get you and I Italian frames. He works for... Yeah. And I said, get a hold of Chris. We'll work it out. Because he goes, what glasses do you want? I go, I want to take a little time with this.
Oh, yeah.
I want it to be fantastic.
Wow,
what's
that's
Italian frames?
really
Is that a brand?
No, it's just
it's like a nice,
Italians care more about their glasses.
They do have nice. They wear really nice glasses.
I'm looking forward to getting new glasses. I do that to Warby Parker. You know that?
Yeah, they're the go-to guys.
But I haven't had an eye exam in a long time. Mm-hmm. And Warby very strict on having a current prescription when you get new frames from the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've had these glasses. I can't see. I get headaches. Finally. So I'm going to try to Google Italian frames.
Yeah.
Let's look into all the whole thing.
Frames.
Yeah. Chris, now you're just eating cake instead of paying attention to the show.
That was like he had his mouth open like this. Mm?
I've never seen someone just occupy all their hands and head and body to eat a piece of cake. Every part of you was involved there.
We've been holding a conversation while we enjoyed this cake.
Yeah, this is running a show in here.
Tommy, your wife is here for the upfronts. So it's a big time of the year for show business. They're cutting people. They're adding people. It's very exciting. But anything big happening in her world? What big show is coming next year?
She's doing, she has this thing, live at Comic-Con for the Sci-Fi Channel. And Zach Levi, they just announced Zach Levi, Chuck, is hosting it. And that's a big thing for them. And it's like a big, they did it last year with Will Arnett hosting it. And it's brand new. It's her kind of baby that she's like, we should be live at Comic-Con. And, it's exciting. And it's, it's only in its second year. And I think already everybody's even more excited. When you start something at the very beginning, kind of the biggest question for the first year was, is this going to be on TV? Which is kind of not the question you want when you're a TV executive.
Yes.
No, I'm not just pitching everyone have fun in San Diego, and then I put a lot of time and money into it. But it's on TV, and it'll be live for the 3 days of that Nerd Fest or whatever.
Well, not everybody can make Comic-Con, and this is kind of like a sporting event for nerds now.
Oh, it's giant for nerds.
And nerds are the number one people out there. I mean, normal people are pushed aside. Nerds are now the new normal.
I've always thought, I've always existed in the middle, and before it was the cool guys are at the top, and then when you flip it, the nerds are at the top now.
Yes,
and the middle stays the middle. Right. So I'm very unaffected by it because I don't know shit about anything. So I didn't move up or down, but other people are kind of upset at the nerds because they're so cool now. Yes. There's also people that just, how long can Chris Hardwick be a nerd?
Yes,
just forever.
Or was he's
ever married to a billionaire?
I don't think you really can be when you are, rich.
So Bill Gates no longer a nerd. Steven Spielberg no longer a nerd. You know that they were nerds when they were kids. There's no doubt.
True, but I still think that Chris Hardwick also has he is the looks going for him too.
Oh so no. We're talking about Bill Gates. Is Bill Gates a nerd anymore? Now that he's a billionaire.
Bill Gates may be a nerd. I think Chris Hardwick dresses cooler now, married to a billionaire guy. I feel like Bill Gates, to me, still a little nerdy with money.
And also, I buy that he grew up a nerd, and so therefore maybe
he's also dad nerd. I think he's a dad.
But just because you, let's say this, there's a lot of people that were considered cool who read comic books. You know what I mean? James Dean would read a comic book. Didn't mean that he suddenly, I'm a nerd because I like a comic book. So Chris Hardwick in the 90s was on MTV. He's doing a fucking
He was doughy also. Yeah. He was a chubby fucking nerd.
Right.
Now he's got gel in his hair.
He's got gel in his Now he's got fucking gel in his hair.
You almost sound like you punched him. When you go,
fucking nerd.
A fucking, almost a mean angle. Look, Don Chris is just on the phone. I feel like he's not part of this show.
It's his cell phone, actually.
Yeah.
And he obviously doesn't even have to show up in that room.
Not enough.
Is he calling into the DePaulo show?
He's saying to DePaulo, can I join you? I want to get off this chubby fucking nerd show and get into DePaulo land.
But I do think that there are a lot of people who get to ride this, I will call almost like a Clarence Worley syndrome, where they're like a cool guy who likes comic books.
Right. It really is. It's a way of. It's become a way of being cool and making money. We're if I one day woke up and was like, you know what, I'm going to try to make a lot of money and just tell people I'm a basketball player.
Right.
They would stop me at the arena and they would say, we're not going to pay you to play basketball. But for nerds, you just get to say you're a nerd. Like Olivia Munn is a nerd.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why? Why did she think that?
She's a nerd. Hardwick's anyway. The only nerds they put on TV are the good-looking ones.
Right.
The ugly ones are the ones we think of.
Right. Well, they're saying they're not really nerds. They're spazzes. And you're like, look, a spaz is a nerd.
Yeah.
Hey, let's put this nerd on TV. I'm not putting that fucking school shooter anywhere near a camera. It's just upsetting.
Now, Vito, do you consider you're a nerd because you're wearing the Indiana Jones hat?
No, I think the coolest thing about me is my Indiana Jones hat. But
what's the nerdiest thing about it?
The nerdiest thing about me, I'd say, is the wrestling. Because it's
Did you almost say wrestling?
The wrestling.
The wrestling.
I take it to the next level where I watch it. I go to all the live events. I'll read the rumors. I'll go to sometimes I'll go on a message board.
That's what everyone does. That's like saying I'm a sports nerd. You know what I mean? You can't. People are like, I'm a football nerd because I like the stats.
Also, if you enjoy something but you are not obsessive about that thing, are you a nerd? For example, if you watch the show like Game of Thrones, right? So there's something that's nerdy about liking the magical stuff. But if you don't know everything about it and go on message boards and talk about it, you're just watching a popular show that has some interesting,
it's an odd argument to, with Hardwick, it's I think he's cool and I don't think you can be cool and be a nerd. And with wrestling, to the obsession thing, the only people I know that are into wrestling are obsessed with it. I don't know one casual wrestling fan.
Yeah.
But my thing with wrestling, the reason I think it's still kind of nerdy is because it's not really popular Like you get made fun of for watching it now in Game of Thrones and like superhero movies. Everybody just likes it,
right?
And like people every time
you for watching wrestling.
Give us names.
But everybody will be like the
Name
one question.
Somebody who's everybody. Because Dan Soder likes wrestling. But like, I don't think you're calling him a nerd.
Well, like my friends not from are like for some reason in the stand up comedy world, like so many of them love
your
wrestling.
friends are black though, right?
Yeah.
And black people don't get involved into anything. You know?
Well, they love superhero movies for some reason.
No, they go to them, but they don't read the rumors and all that.
Yeah, they don't know. They're not like an issue number 423.
But those aren't the people who go to the movies anymore. Like now people go to the movies, they don't know like the history behind the comic books.
It
like,
seems like everyone's going to the movies.
Yeah, because the movies are the popular thing. The comic books aren't really the popular part about it.
You're not making any sense now. You've taken the whole thing around in a fucking circle, and quite frankly, you've even bored Johnagin. You've taken our guest; he's no longer involved in the conversation.
I was just thinking,
fucked it up, nerdo.
I was into wrestling, and then when I stopped at like 9 and thought that it was over. I stopped watching wrestling when I was around 9. And then at 10, if you'd asked me, I'd have been like, no, they quit doing that. Nobody's doing that anymore.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Now, what was your peak wrestling? Who was
Sting?
Things?
I was big into Sting.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago, right?
Yeah. That was Blonde.
Has he died?
Too, right?
Has he died?
No. But he just retired last year. So you've missed 20 years of Sting entertainment. He was in the rafters for many years, and he was dressing like the Crow.
Whenever the Crow, I remember seeing him be the Crow for a second. Was around that Brandon Lee movie, right? Was it directly from that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Fez said to me not too long ago that any adult that watches wrestling is gay. And children, you're but if you're a man and you're still watching wrestling and talking about storylines, it just means that you want to pull down their trunks and suck their cocks.
What if you're a dad and the reason that you watch it are for kids? Are you exempt?
That was like a dad is not going to get on a roller coaster without a kid.
Right.
Anything that you would do as a parent is acceptable.
Okay.
If you're on a teacup for no fucking reason.
Right.
You're not going to walk by. Look at this dude. He likes riding the teacups. You see a kid there. But if it's him and his buddy trying to get the teacups, that's insanity. Right?
Yes.
So a dad can fake interest into anything. A dad can be sitting there acting like he's at a tea party.
Right.
Can dads or non-dads do those type of activities without their kid? When I thought of it, I'm specifically speaking of like a Cub Scout master.
Right.
Like your kid ages out or your kid quits.
Yeah.
Is it okay for the dad to be like, I'll fucking still lead this troop?
No.
I don't think so either.
I'm going to go so far as saying this. I don't think that you can coach Little League without saying this is my kid playing second.
Not in my world, you're not.
Yeah.
I'll pull my kid off the team and I'll be to every parent, this is your fault. Yeah. What happens after this is your fault.
Right.
This fucking guy, just around them. And I think you're not supposed to say that. I think you're supposed to be like, oh, that's real nice that this guy volunteers his time.
Mm-mm. I don't mind if he's like a league official or he's putting, he's making sure that the fucking grass is cut. I mean, I get that the dads don't want to do that, but I think the coach should be like, come on guys, if we don't get one of you dads to step up, we're going to have to cancel the team.
Coaching, yeah, that's exactly the coach, getting a coach, you shouldn't have just one guy jumping up and down with his hand raised.
Right.
Wearing a fanny pack, I assume. If some guy takes 2 laps around the park, I don't care if he's lost, I'm pulling my kid off the team. I'm done. I'm so paranoid about him. I got 2 girls, and all I think about is somebody fingering them or something. It's fucking the worst. And I swear to God, it's the worst life, and it's not even hyperbolic. It's functioning. It's ruining my life.
Yeah. Just how old are the girls?
4.5 and 1.5.
Okay, so you got another.
I don't think I stop until they die.
Oh, you're gonna, even when they're adults, you're gonna worry about
until they're married.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, on the wedding day, I'm gonna be like, hey, somebody's gonna finger these fucking kids, and now this is your concern. You better bulk up because it's gonna happen on your watch now.
So that's it. You hand over the keys to the vagina,
and I'm like, I'll in any situation, I'll stare somebody down. I'll interrogate my kid, but like in the way you would a kid. She's like, oh, I was talking to my older friend. I'm like, oh, really? How old's this friend? Who's this friend? Where'd you meet this friend? Who introduced you? I'm just trying to get any male or female adult, like kind of. She talked to me at the park the other day, and it was just a grown man telling her about when he lost his tooth. Mm-hmm. And I was like, let me find this guy. I told my nanny, I was like, you gotta watch, you can't let this fucking kid, because my 4.5-year-old will wander off with somebody. Right. She's just like a chill kid. she'll wander off and come back a changed person.
So
it's terrifying.
Your home is going to be kind of like NSA security line. You're just moving in and out. Who's coming in?
Yeah.
What's their background?
Yeah. And I'm sure it's insane. It's my own fault, but it's
no, because there are people like Chris Stanley out there. And
there are, yeah.
And he's
everywhere.
always in the park by himself, and he sits there with a newspaper on his lap. By the way, who were you on the phone with when we were trying to talk to you?
Oh, I'm talking about an Unmasked for this week, trying to get that locked in.
I thought it was for next week.
It's for this week.
The second one?
Second one, yeah.
On what day?
Friday.
Is it going to happen?
It's going to happen.
Oh, God. We don't have enough time to prepare it. You
will be prepared. I will prepare you.
You don't know how to prepare yourself. How could you prepare me for somebody? Anyway, the thing is, there are a lot of people like Chris Stanley.
We went to a birthday party at a park, and if you asked someone to describe a pedophile, if you said someone raped a kid, describe them, and they said, well, I didn't see it, just go describe that person. It would be this guy at this park. And I swear to God, it's this doughy, he was wearing all tan, tucked in shorts, and he's round, and he just sits and starts tugging at his crotch in his pants. And we're at a birthday party at the park. No one notices the guy. He's off by himself. And I get 20 feet from him and just get that like bouncer at closing time stance, arms crossed, and just stare at him. And then he's grabbing his shit and then notices me and then gets all fidgety and then walks off. I don't know if he would have touched anyone, but he was definitely going to finish.
But it seems like it's heading towards that direction.
Yeah.
Whether he does it today or 2 years from now, he's going to move into that Chris Stanley world.
Yeah. Eventually.
I have active fantasies of being in a courtroom, murdering the pedophile in the courtroom.
Really?
I have a murder pedophile. Yeah. I'm going to kill him in the courtroom.
Wow.
Now, I had a thing where I live very close to a park, and so I would walk my dog every day. And so in the park, the girls' softball team, I would say they were probably probably young high school, maybe like junior varsity type, and they would play. And then you could see there would be like a couple parents who would kind of hang over here. But then there's these benches that were farther, and there was always like 3 or 4 dudes. They weren't together. They were kind of like at different benches, and it would be like the same guys. And they just like, you could kind of tell.
Facing the kids.
And I'll say this. You're watching a ball game, it's one thing. Because you can kind of see the body language of somebody watching a ball game. Like, you can see they're clapping even though they're not over there. They're just kind of interested. They were not watching a ball game. And it was the same characters. It was always about 3 or 4 of them.
Youngsters jiggling bodies.
Yeah, they were just watching young girls run around, laugh, high five. And you could see where their focal point was. And I was like, there's never anything for me to report, but I was just like, I'm fucking on you guys. Like, I've made a point to walk by them and be like, so you see that I see you, and I know that you're here.
They just need to know that they're noticed by someone.
Yeah, that you're not invisible, and just so you know, I'm not going to tell anybody you haven't done anything wrong, but it's just like, it was very interesting to me. You could just tell that they were not just watching a game.
There's a little playground near where I live, and there's a thing on there that you can't come into the playground without a child. You have to have a child.
It should be on all playgrounds.
They come into a playground. And a guy at my coffee shop says to me, hey, that sign don't mean shit. You can go in there anytime you want. There's nothing they can do about it. I don't feel the need to go into a playground.
They don't want
There's a fucking jungle gym there. What am I going to do? I'm not going to climb on it. I'm not going to get on a swing.
Right.
This isn't like a park that, there's a beautiful river or anything. This is a place with children's...
Right. This guy's attitude is insane. I didn't find a fucking war for somebody to keep me off the monkey bars.
This is basically where his head was at. Who are they to tell me I can't go in a playground? I go in that playground and smoke. And I go, first of all, they don't want you smoking around children either.
Right.
Where's that sign? That guy's not a pedophile. That guy just hates signs.
Yeah, he doesn't want anybody to tell him what to do.
Yeah, I know.
But he is helpful to the pedophile community.
That guy, you put up a sign that says "Don't eat dog shit." He's like, "Think you fucking eat that stuff? They can't do anything about it." Somebody leaves it out there, it's yours now.
Do you realize how far we've moved along? Because we're next to Times Square, which in the 80s was a place that families went to and also had massive amounts of pornography at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know old school Times Square. Is it just out or stores that sold it?
Everything.
Porn theaters.
Every
everywhere.
theater.
Yeah.
There were fucking places that you go in, you put a quarter in a thing, it pops up, the woman masturbates, and you masturbate. But by the way, and if any of you think, oh, this sounds like it could be hot. No. The people the prostitutes, you wouldn't, I don't know how you would have an erection with these prostitutes. Yeah. It was like drugs and prostitution, but bad drugs and bad prostitution. Nothing a regular person would like to have.
This isn't the good stuff.
Yeah. Right. And yet that ran for 25 years there?
Oh, easily, yeah. Probably. Yeah. It went through the 70s, the 80s, and most of the 90s, really.
And now, if you're over there smoking a cigarette, people will scream at you like, what are you doing?
There's children out here.
This is Times Square.
I feel like you ever park your car and you put in, you put in a quarter, and then the whole time you're gone, you're worried about getting a ticket.
Yeah,
and that feels like that same feelings with jerking off to me. It feels like I'm not gonna have a ton of quarters. I'm gonna have to ask somebody to break. So it's gonna be that same anxiety of oh fuck, there's no way I'm not gonna get this and get out. I'm gonna run out of it.
Doing it on a time limit, no matter what, just sounds stressful. You have 10 minutes to have a great time.
Or you know what the move is? You go to the bank that day, you come in, and you just set a stack of quarters down, and you're like, you're fucking working all day, babe.
Well, that's what they would do. They wanted you to you know what I mean?
Right.
Because a lot of guys didn't go for the second jack. They were like, I got enough time. Oh, I'm already coming. I'm going to leave then. And then that thing would come down. You save a little money.
Right.
Somebody would come by with a squeegee, clean it up. Next guy comes in.
God.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You gotta come somewhere, I guess.
What would they call that? They even had a name.
Jizzmopper.
They want you to be Jizzmopper.
That was my nickname in high school.
A better name.
I always called him Jizzmopper.
So they would have that guy. That would be his job, to go in there, just like you see the guys waiting for the movie to end and they run in real quick.
Yeah.
That would be the Jizzmopper, the official name.
Sure.
Would go in and mop the jizz.
I like that fucking guy. He gets a job at AMC, and they're like, "Oh god, this is the worst fucking job in the world. You're gonna be chewed up gum and popcorn all over the floor." And he's like, this is heaven to me. That's all I have to clean up? Popcorn and gum? Yeah. You're not going to believe what my last job was.
By the way, would a porn theater have popcorn?
Some did. Some did. Some didn't.
Are those... So these are private rooms where the Jizzmopper goes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now the theater, you would go in and jerk off. That's when they would do the raincoat joke about a guy having a raincoat, because there would be plenty of room for him to hide himself. But guys would be jerking off next to each other.
But the quarters room... You were able to jerk off. In the theater, you were not able to jerk off.
Yeah, they would tell you not to, but they would let people,
Now,
they played that loose.
Was there ever a circumstance, much like in that Madonna music video, where everyone's in their private booth, but you've all got the same show?
I never saw anything like that. I just saw sometimes.
Oh, that's what I thought it was.
One-armed person, because they would play right to you.
Yeah, they would
standing there.
They would crowd work you.
And there was also some people went in there jerk off like that, but some people took their chicks in. You know what I mean? It would be a thing that couples would do, like, oh,
is that sexy?
Is that sexy to you? And you could,
I couldn't get my chick to go see John Wick 2. Seems like an uphill battle to get one of those shows. I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah. It'll be seriously on demand before you know it. That's the only way I see most movies now. I have to wait till they get on demand. I found out John Wick was great 7 months after everybody else.
No one, I don't think anyone knew about that movie.
Yeah.
Until you're at home.
Yeah.
The first one caught everybody up by surprise, right?
Yeah. I was sitting there going, I guess I'll rent this. And then I'm like, I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm thrilled right now. This is wonderful.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. What do they call that when you're punching and shooting at the same time? It has
gun fu.
Gun fu instead of kung fu.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking witty.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's a Jizzmopper guy came up with that.
He's got all the terms.
He knows everything.
That's me, guys.
There's 2 other terms for it also. So it's Jizzmopper, scum scrubber, and sperm swabber.
I never heard any of those.
Sperm swabber's made up. It's Jizzmopper.
That's insane.
But when you were a kid, did you go to that Times Square? Did you see it?
And when I was very young, my parents would go through Times Square, and I'd see it. But even into the early 90s, at the Port Authority, there was just fucking crazy people attacking you.
Your parents would just take you and walk through the shitty parts of Times Square?
Yes, Tom,
dude.
yes.
But look, tourists.
Chris, is what happens if Batman's parents didn't get murdered?
Or they're more like the people that killed Batman's parents. But Annie was playing right there. You know what I mean? There were reasons to take the children into Times Square was the place the tourists would show up for, and you could buy crack, and I'm not making this up, every 5 to 10 feet, there was the 3-card Monte, there was prostitutes, and a prostitute would sometimes, like I would be with a girl, and a prostitute would grab you and start to pull you, and I'm going to say, it's not Julia Roberts. It's a scary fucking Middle Eastern girl who's pulling you.
And then you're having to be like, I'm on a date. Am I going to leave my date?
I don't think I could beat this chick's ass. You know what I mean? Like a really tough girl.
Was it that was so prevalent? Was that where that Julia Roberts, like, in that time period that Pretty Woman came out, there was a lot of falling in love with hookers.
Hooker with a heart of gold was like the common.
Was that just because it was everywhere that people go like, oh, what if they were pretty?
So. I think that women have held that as somewhat of their own fantasy. I'm forced into
prostitution
life. Yeah.
And then now I get out.
No, I find the right
high-priced hooker is always a common female fantasy. Just like with some scumbag for like a low price.
A high-priced hooker. I always thought this prostitution seems too good to be true to me. I've never done it because it seems like a trap. It seems perfect.
And in terms to what?
Paying for sex.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm going to get robbed or I'm going to get an STD. That's the reason I've never done it.
Yeah. I mean, those things 50-50. Are part of it. Yeah. Those are all part of it. And then you also have the fact that the police could come in, like it's a sting operation.
Right.
Yeah. So I was too afraid. The high end ones even. Then your worry is just the police, I assume.
Most of the time, the thing about high end one, it's so far out marked of where it should be, right? Like there should be no prostitute that's $8,000 for a night, you know?
No.
And that's where they are with that. And you're like, okay, we went through, okay, at least you're not gross, you look like a young model. To really, $8,000?
$8,000. Do you hang out, is that a 24 hour? Is it like a rental? Is it a red box thing?
Some guys want the girlfriend experience.
Do you own it if you don't bring it back on time?
Some of it will play right to the point of, oh, honey, you're home, make you feel like you have a life. They're for rich guys who can't pull off having a girlfriend without being insane.
How many times do you fucking in $8,000, you think?
I'm going to say probably only twice.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's not a lot. That's not a lot.
No, it's not a lot.
I'm pretty sure there's an old fat dude at the bar last night. We landed. We went to the bar in a hotel. I think it was like a dude with a prostitute. And just a meathead, older, fat, like throwing money. It's like gives the bartender $100 to turn the music up.
Yeah.
And it's just a quiet bar. And then the prostitute's crying at one point, or the gal, his friend, was crying at one point. And you've never seen someone, he just didn't acknowledge it, didn't care. There's just a girl at the bar crying. Doesn't say anything to her. I get up to FaceTime my daughter. I come back and my chick's like, he just asked if I had any crack. So, and I was like, what? She was like, yeah. He goes, do you have any coke? And she said, no. And he's like, do you have any crack? And she said no. And then he was like, oh, I'm kidding. And then as soon as I sat down and she was telling me that, he asked the busboy if he had any crack. I don't know much about drugs, but starting with crack seems aggressive.
Yeah,
it does.
I think also too, if you say like, you have any coke? You're going to mention what other hard drugs you do. No, I don't, but I have.
Yeah.
You're like, you don't have to sit there and go through the laundry list.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to brag, but my chick also doesn't look like she has crack on her. I'm with one of those gals. Doesn't look like a crack holder.
We're in a neighborhood, like if you go even to the restaurant downstairs, that bar has prostitutes who hang out. Oh, yeah. Now, they don't say, would you like a prostitute? They act like you're meeting someone.
Yeah.
Wait. The prostitutes themselves?
Yeah. They look like middle-class people.
Sitting alone, well-dressed.
The hotel we're staying at, I don't know about this one.
Yeah.
I don't think staying at is the right English. But anyway, there's one of the same name in Los Angeles that is that famously for that in the lobby bar. It is varying ages, all dressed very well. They're not in the fishnet 80s prostitute look, but it is full of prostitutes, and it's just known for that, and I didn't know that until I went.
And very expensive prostitutes.
It's high end, yeah. I didn't know $8,000. I don't know if that was made up or not, but I would think 300, if I had to guess prostitutes, 300 on the decent low end, and then, sure, 50 if you get one that's addicted to drugs or something, but then I thought 3,000 would be the ceiling.
No, when you go to Vegas, there's crazy prostitute things that can even run much higher than what we were.
It actually makes me feel good because 8, I would never in my life go 8. Mm-hmm. But in a pinch, if you told me 3 and I could get you down to 1,800, there's like a chance.
There's a chance.
But I'm glad that it's 8.
I know someone recently, the last wedding I went to, took a prostitute to a wedding. I thought that was kind of an interesting.
What?
He took a prostitute to a wedding.
As his date.
Why?
I guess to be like, to be like, this is my date. She was, I would say she was attractive, but she was clearly not his date.
Was he telling people she was a prostitute?
No. He wasn't telling, but I know his sister, and she was like, that is the prostitute. And
that's a mistake to get that information out. But everyone claims that Jeffrey Gurian is with prostitutes all the time. And he claims that he's not. But they seem like prostitutes. He brings women around that you wouldn't expect.
It seems like hired help, yeah.
Huh. Mm. Well, good. I mean, also, if you're denying and you're like ashamed that they're prostitutes, you should. Then the fact that people are thinking they are, you've already lost that battle.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I've never seen any of these gals. I've seen the pictures, but never with the fake prostitutes.
He's always either with Asians or really attractive, tall. They're all taller than him. Even an Asian is taller than him. And then there's tall black girls. You never just see him like, hey, he was a white friend of mine. That never happens.
If you ever see, if I'm ever with a black chick, it's a prostitute because black chicks are not into me. They never have been. I was single for 4 or 5 years, as single as you can get, trying every night with every person I found attractive, and not one black chick was even remotely into me. Just don't. I'm too white. I'm not too white. I'm just not white enough to switch over. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think they're like, I'm not fucking. If I'm going to go through the hassle of being with a white guy, I'm not going to go with like a fucking regular one.
Right. Now, you give off the vibe what they would call cracker.
Yeah. I'm not going to bring this guy to get bullied around my family.
Dude, we're going to wrap this up. You hanging out this week, or what are you doing?
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Here today and tomorrow, and then fly out Wednesday.
All right.
Just came for the fun.
So you'll be eating shrimp puffs for the next couple of days.
Shrimp puffs.
Delicious. Just those kind of food that people carry around. Tommy Johnagin, one of the funniest human beings in the world. Great to see you, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
And John Fugelsang has that show on Friday, Chris.
At Caroline's.
At Caroline's Wednesday night. And Rosie O'Donnell's going to be one of the people doing it. Judah Freelander and Judy Gold. All right, that's it for us. See you guys again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!